dropped 553, the S&P lower by 90. More at townhall.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at two different options: debt settlement and management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Mortgage rates on the...
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
Copper may be the key. I'm Chris Davis. The golden mussel invasion in California and Kern County is expanding as the invasive barnacle-like species clogs pipes by clinging to the insides and growing. But CPRO Scientific is working with the Arvin Edison Water Storage District on a new copper-based treatment that would be put into water systems to control the spread, reports ABC 23. And one of the scientists says he believes it shows promise as an effective way to slow the organisms down. If you saw a guy in a black t-shirt and black shorts, and that was on Rosedale Highway, and that was on June 16th, it may have been the guy that Bakersfield police are looking for, who they say tried to steal an AC unit from a business there. Police are calling it an attempt and did not say the guy was successful. Cops are asking for info from anyone who might have it. It's being called the South Fire, even though it's burning north of Bakersfield in the mountains. And Wednesday afternoon, that fire caused some people who live in that area to have to be evacuated. The fire was on South Granite Road, according to Kern Fire. They say as of Wednesday evening, it had burned about 70 acres, and at that point, structures were in danger. No one has been reported hurt in the fire. You are encouraged to have the Genesis, and that's spelled with a Y, app to find out about any evacuation notices. If you've been following the story of the dog attack that happened at Central Park in Cal City back on June 18th, where the 12-year-old boy who jumped in a pond to get away from the vicious dogs died, the Kern County Coroner's Office now confirms that the boy died from drowning and the manner of death was accidental. You're just now hearing that because the findings from the coroner's report have been made public. 68-year-old Kenneth Dobbins is under arrest in that incident. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Welcome to the rest world. In a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's going to give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, however you may be viewing, for those subscribing, streaming on YouTube. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we stream live at kernradio.com. We got another busy show on this Thursday because it is a Thursday. Mike Turnipseed, Executive Director of Kern Tax, will join us 4 o'clock. He has written yet another community voice that we will talk about. Our money man, that's July 22nd, Ralph. Let's move on to the 23rd. Our money man, Daniel Petrey from Messmaker and Petrey Wealth Advisors, joins us at 4:30. And there's much to talk about. We will tell you about a staggering poll that I hope comes true, but it's really, really early. We told you about the Kamala Harris poll over Gavin Newsom here in California. But now in New Hampshire, which normally is kind of the beginning of the primary season, but the Democrats are finagling with that. But you'll be surprised at who is leading the presidential poll there. We'll delve into that in just a second. The House, for a second time, has voted to end the war or demand the president seek some sort of arrangement with Congress. The war resolution had passed 214 to 205 at 208, 214 to 208. It has no teeth in it. There's nothing that the president has to react to, but it is in the wake of the president saying that he is considering a massive strike. So we'll unpack that as well. And police cam catch a, what is that? Police body cam trying to, I can't even read my, please stand by. Could you tell those loafers in there we're trying to do a radio show, please? Police body cam trying to save his life for kids. Oh, I'm talking about the Estrada case. Because I made a huge mistake yesterday, which I am shocked that no one caught, including you, Mr. Burdick. Tell whoever
me?
Tell whoever you're talking. Who are you talking to? Daisy?
Yeah.
Oh, you can talk to Daisy. That's okay. I don't mind that. You can talk to him. Go ahead. I don't mind.
No, she's done. She's going to do her stuff
Bye,
right now.
Daisy.
Thank you, Daisy.
In her Playboy jeans. I made a gargantuan mistake yesterday.
Oh.
I said that we should come together and protest during the preliminary hearing of Rafael Estrada.
Oh,
and then I said, day one of the trial has begun.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
That don't make no sense. Because as you all know, a preliminary hearing is to determine if a case is going to trial. So therefore, we cannot form a group and go down to the preliminary hearing because obviously it's already taken place. But we'll unpack day two of the trial, which has begun. And, plea deals can be made in the middle of a trial. And my point yesterday was to highlight the number of plea deals that this district attorney is involved in of late. This is the story we told you about yesterday. We told you about before when it happened back in May of the estranged husband who was asked to sign divorce papers on the day that he allegedly killed his wife. He showed up in a drunken stupor, according to witnesses, at a graduation party at her father's home where she was seeking refuge from her estranged husband. And during the party, with at least one of her children present, he slashed her throat. It got pretty detailed from what the reporting was today on day two of the trial. We'll get into that for you. And federal prosecutors are not going to be able to subpoena White House reporters. Again, the president is still upset about the leak coming from the White House about his 787 that the Qataris gave to him. Remember when he went to Turkey, he flew to Turkey in the Qatari 787, but he didn't come home in it. And the White House didn't really say any reason why. And this is kind of a prideful thing for the president because, again, this was a gift. It was a controversial gift. Everybody on the left said he shouldn't have received it, blah, blah, blah. They said how much money it was going to cost. It wasn't going to cost us anything. Then it cost us millions and millions to upgrade it. Well, it wasn't fit for him to ride in back from Turkey. And it was leaked to the New York Times about the security concerns. And so the White House subpoenaed New York Times reporters. Now, this is not something that's uncommon. Doesn't happen all the time. It happened during the Obama administration. There's a famous case during the Nixon administration that actually went to the Supreme Court. And you may be surprised at my take on this because while journalists have a duty to protect their sources, and once that duty is broken, journalism as we know it, and this may be a little bit hyperbolic, but you can't, let me put it this way. Let's start again. As journalists, we depend on anonymous sources. And if there were ever a precedent set where a journalist were to give up his source, it would just destroy a portion of journalism and covering. And what source would trust his journalist? And as I've talked about, a lot of what journalism is creating a relationship with people in powerful positions and having them tell you stuff that they're not supposed to tell you. That's really what journalism is about when it comes to investigating stuff and finding out stuff that you're not supposed to know. And I can tell you this, it is not a written kind of even tacit agreement as is the relationship between a lawyer and his client, where it is against the law to reveal what a client tells you as a lawyer. That's not true between a journalist and somebody in the government. In fact, there are cases when the government has sided with the government, where the judiciary sided with the government and demanded that the journalists give up their source. And as I'm sure most of you know, the credo, the motto of journalists is, I will go to jail to protect my source. In fact, and here I go again, as you know I'm wont to do, comparing fiction to real life, there is a classic Mary Tyler Moore episode. Remember, the Mary Tyler Moore show was a show based on a newsroom. And Mary Richards, aka Mary Tyler Moore, was a news producer. And there is a classic episode in that comedy where Mary is put in that position. She's brought before a judge and she says, I'm not giving up my source. And Mary Richards goes to jail in the episode. So there is no concrete relationship where the government is bound or the journalist is bound to keep the secret legally. No, it isn't. But I'll explain why it was squashed by a judge, because there are things that the government has to do properly in subpoenaing. For example, just to give you a little taste, we'll talk about this later. They subpoenaed the reporters. There were 3 reporters involved who broke the Qatari story. They subpoenaed them at their home. Now, I don't know anything about it because I've never been subpoenaed. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm parroting what I've heard on television and what people that know about this, experts know. They say that is ridiculously rare. I mean, think about that. You're 47 years old. You're a veteran reporter for the New York Times. You're sitting in your palatial pad, eating your wife's pot roast with your 3 kids, and there's a knock on the door, and it's an FBI agent giving you a subpoena. You know what I'm saying? That's just a little overkill. You couldn't have served him at the New York Times, really? You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of things that the government did wrong. We'll get into that. And the Dodgers, there's a lot of sports news we'll do on the 5. The Dodgers, did you see the Dodger game last night, Mr. What should I call you? Who do I know? I don't know any of the Phillies. Carl Schwarzenegger, Trace Evans. What?
Nah, I was going to say Shane Victorino.
Y'all ran yourselves out of another game last night.
I know.
I mean, are y'all just stupid?
Yes.
I've never seen such bad
running. We're the only baseball team that loses games ourselves.
No, well, a lot of teams do that, but yes, you're the only really good team that does that. Good Google.
That's what's going to be our downfall in the playoffs. I'm gonna record this now so I could say it later, but it's going to be our downfall.
Yeah, and Tommy Edman is just on fire. You know what Tommy Edman's hitting since he came back? No. I got it written right here.
Okay.
356. 356. He had a triple to unload the bases. And your boy, Rushing, hit another home run. Just saying.
How much does his relationship with the team, though, go into this?
I don't know. Chris is alluding to the fact that I believe the team can't stand him.
I think there's a lot of validity to that, though, because you're right. If you look at the way they kind of treat him, especially since the thing with Shohei.
The Shohei thing, and then the Max Muncy thing that I alluded to, where they were shifted. Muncy was playing short, basically, and it was a pop-up around just short of third base, and Rushing couldn't find it, and Max had to sprint in and barely make the catch. And on the field, he went like this. He just went. And you just don't do that. And then earlier in that very same game, the guy who's going to pitch tomorrow night against the Mets, Roki, he missed a curveball. Like, it didn't bounce. It was just a curveball that he dropped and went between his legs and scored a run. And Roki was doing the same thing. Like, what the hell's going on? And you just don't do that to another player. But guess where the Dodgers are today?
Mets.
They're on their way to New York via. They took a little side route from Philly on their way to New York, and they went south.
That's south?
That's correct.
I don't know why they would go south, but
what
Georgia?
major city
South
is south
Carolina?
of Philadelphia? South Carolina.
I don't know. I'm
What's
just throwing
the
it
matter
out.
with you? What big city is south of Philadelphia?
Pittsburgh? I actually don't know. What
Major city. Washington, District of Columbia. They went and visited the White House, where the president, embraced the 2025 world champions. Everybody was there but Kike. Kike, grow up, son. I know you're Puerto Rican. I know you're probably mad, but when you're my age, you're going to regret this. You really are. It was stupid. And he alluded to Kike, too. I watched some of it.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. They do that thing.
Is different.
Yeah, they do this thing, the White House does, I guess every president does, where they do like a narration of the World Series. And I was shocked, he got a Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He pronounced it correctly.
He's a sports guy, though.
And Trump is funny. He's honest. He said, Andy Pajes. And he said, I had to get that right because they spelled it with an H instead of a G. But at least he's honest, because he would have said, he would have said Pages.
Yeah,
Pages. If they had read it, if they had spelled it the way it's spelled, he would have said Pages. I would have said Pages. So he admitted, he said they spelled it for me correctly. I think he said Y. They spelled it Pay. So I knew I had to get that right. But he calls out everybody. He called out Miggy, and they do it. They do a real nice job where he says. And not only did Miggy hit the home run, but he made that great play at second base where Will Smith had to put his foot down. Where's Will? Will didn't show up either. Will's apparently back injured, but it was pretty cool. All right, let's get started. We are extremely late on this Thursday. We'll come back and I'll tell you about this incredible presidential poll. Anybody got any guesses during the break, either on the chat room or on a text, who the Democrats have a top of the leaderboard for 2028? Anyone? Bueller? Take a guess. I'll tell you when we come back. Then day 2 of the trial of Rafael Estrada, the man locally allegedly knifed his estranged wife to death in front of his children at a graduation party that he interrupted and was not invited to, according to all the witnesses. And then Mr. Petrey and Mr. Turnipseed in the exact opposite order. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, it looks like more bad news out of the Strait of Hormuz there. It looks like the Houthis are in play now, and that's going to put oil back over $100 a barrel. That's going to be great for everybody. God help you. We got news, we got traffic, we got weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. Right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
No arsonist can stop the Valpredo family and the family at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen. When I say the family, I mean the waitresses and the busboys and the cooks that make up that entire family that Gino has put together over there. And you know what I always say? I personally would start in the delicatessen. Start looking at some of the merchandise for gifts for this Christmas or graduation, whatever. And say hello to Lynette. She's a great sommelier. She'll probably try to turn you on to some great Italian wines. Then head into the bar, have a cocktail with Julie as you're waiting to be seated, either outside on the patio where Gino's got misters, calming it down on a day like today, or maybe inside or at the Bailey Bar, perhaps. Where would you rather be? And of course, the warehouse, as I've talked about, I bet 95% of y'all have been at least to one event in that warehouse, which has been a game changer. It's got its independent bar and just spacious area for memorials or birthdays or anniversaries, whatever. It's Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, longtime sponsor of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Look, folks, you already know that your garage door is a very important part of your home, from the overall look of the place to the safety and security it provides. So obviously, you should only trust the service, repair, and maintenance of your garage door to the pros at King Door Company. Their skill and product knowledge are unmatched in the industry, and that's no accident. The techs at King Door are rigorously trained at the King Door Academy. That's right, King Door has an in-house training facility to make sure your job is done right on the first try. They're trained in all the latest equipment, tools, and techniques. They even learn how to listen to customer concerns through role-playing exercises. And you'll see how well all this training works when they show up right on time in fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and equipment to service or repair any garage door. Like I said, your garage door is a very important part of your home, so leave it to the pros at King Door Company. Schedule your appointment today at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, the company with the pride of a lion.
Warmer weather is finally here, and that means cookouts,
ball games,
and maybe enjoying some time on the water.
But it also means lots of heavy food, sweets, and maybe an extra adult beverage or two. Thank goodness we both take Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All the things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted natural ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Active Liver helps us enjoy the good things in life with peace of mind that our liver isn't working overtime. Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com, and you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
It's amazing how just a few degrees make just an incredible, I mean, it feels pleasant outside. You know what I mean? Have you been outside lately?
Not since about noon.
It is currently, please stand by, in Bakersfield, downtown Bakersfield is currently, it's only 94 degrees with a high of 99. We got lucky. Next week is going to be hell. Starting Wednesday, 102, Thursday, 106, Friday, 107, Saturday, 108. That means when I play with the boys on Sunday, ooh, by the way, I swung the golf club this morning.
And?
Shout out to Highway 99 Collective, because I think that CBD oil does actually work. I could actually swing the golf
He's been
club.
telling you for weeks now.
He really has. I didn't, you know what it was? Because he texted me and he said, use the CBD oil. And I said, I have. And it has like a spray.
Yeah.
So I was just spraying a little bit on. Well, I wasn't in so much pain, but I wanted to get over it. I just took the cap off and just poured some on all over my foot and just rubbed it in. And I really think it made a difference. I really, really do. I haven't swung a golf club. That's the problem. See, that's the issue with golf. I haven't swung. I was just coming off two of my best scores. I posted an 83 at Sundale. That's the best score I've shot in like 10 years. I shot an 89 at BCC the following weekend. And now I haven't played in 2 weekends. I haven't played in 2 weekends. So what can I really expect? I should go. I've been thinking about going and hitting balls Friday because I think I'm going to play Saturday and Sunday. So I think I'm going to try to sneak out Friday tomorrow, pump up the show, get a lot of guests tomorrow because we have 2 guests already, Mr. Bentley and a young woman who is starting up a STEM school, or is it STEAM? I think it's STEAM, STEAM. Maybe put one more guest and then we'll get some golf balls in the morning. Real quick, this New Hampshire poll has AOC atop of the leaderboard. And it's fairly close between her and Pete Buttigieg, which raises the question, is America ready to hire as the president, commander-in-chief, either a woman or a gay man? What do you think is the better shot, Chris? Female or a gay man? I think there's a better shot at a woman, given the fact that a woman has, in history, won the most votes. She was just a stupid politician, and didn't look at the Electoral College and got beat by Donald Trump. But the fact of the matter is more people voted for Hillary Rodham Clinton than did Donald Trump. So I think there are more homophobes than there are misogynists. I think a woman would get there first before a gay man. The rest of the poll is crazy. It's AOC at 22%, Pete Buttigieg at 21%, Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona, the former astronaut, the husband of Gabby Giffords, the woman who shot, the congresswoman who shot, he's at 9. Our former governor, idiot, is at 8. BS is at 6. BS is at 6. Bernie Sanders is at 6. Kamala is at 5, unfortunately, because we'd love to see Kamala get the nomination. And 12% are undecided. They could do this. The issue is, in history, technically, no congressman has ever gone from the House to the House. Technically. Let me explain, because this is my bailiwick. I'm not very smart, but I know a little bit of something about a couple of categories. And presidential history is one of them. James Garfield technically was a congressman when he got elected. But in the time between he got elected president, he was also appointed to the United States Senate. And it was his choice. Guess which one he chose? He took the nomination and became president of the United States. So technically, he was a congressman, but technically he was a senator. But he's the only one, let's count him then. He's the only one that's come from the House to the House. No member of Congress. Now, there have been many presidents, if you're yelling at your radio and you don't understand what I'm saying, yes, there have been many presidents who were once congressmen. That's idiotic to say Nixon was a congressman. John Kennedy was a congressman. Lyndon Johnson was a congressman before they all went to the Senate. There have been many, many presidents who have been congressmen, but nobody has gone from house to house. And that's what AOC would have to do. And so history's not on her side, plus the fact that we've never nominated a woman. But listen, the Democratic Socialist Party is on the rise for as long as it lasts, and it's going to absolutely divide the Democratic Party because if you examine what they're talking about, and even I've talked about this earlier this week or later last week, Van Jones and a lot of members of the Democratic Party are stepping up and saying, these people are wackadoo. They're talking about no borders. Literally, this is their plank. They're talking about no affiliation with Israel whatsoever. They're talking about no prisons. Literally, no prisons, no police. They truly believe in defunding and getting rid of the police department. So where does the Democratic Party go? Because this Democratic Socialist Communist movement is moving fast. They've got a situation in Michigan where it's splitting the party, where James Clyburn said about this El Sayed who's running in Michigan. And Clyburn said, all I had to see is there were no black people in the audience. That's all I had to see. So there is a big split in the Democratic Party, and it's going to be fun to watch unfold. Quick time out to the back half of the hour. It's TRBS. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump is going ahead with new double-digit tariffs on dozens of U.S. trading partners, just as the clock runs out Friday on stopgap levies he imposed after a stinging defeat at the Supreme Court. The United States will impose taxes of 10% to 12.5% on imports from 60 countries, charging that they have inadequately enforced bans on goods produced by forced labor. The House has narrowly passed a resolution to halt U.S. military action in Iran, sending a warning to President Trump for the second time as the war has escalated and the future of the conflict is increasingly uncertain. The Senate on Thursday narrowly rejected a similar resolution. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 506 points, the Nasdaq dropped 553. More details at srnnews.com.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance, just a few dollars a...
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. A possible solution for the golden mussel invasion in Kern County and all of California may be being worked out in Arvin, reports ABC 23, with a company called CPro Scientific working with the Arvin Edison Water Storage District on a possible copper-based solution that may slow down the mussels as they clog pipes and pumps. Some people on South Granite Road in the mountains north of Bakersfield were and are dealing with smoke from a fire that started Wednesday afternoon and had some evacuation warnings in place. That fire is being called the South Fire, according to Kern Fire, and they say it had burned about 70 acres and some structures were in danger. No one has been reported hurt in that fire. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-498-6548. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-498-6548. That's 800-498-6548. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
If you've got kids right now, what happens every summer? Well, there's no summer jobs available. And so you end up having to spend a lot of money putting your kids into something that is going to keep them active. You can't do what we did when I was growing up. It just doesn't happen anymore. And that's been the death of summer jobs and really changed society in a very negative way.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230.
KERN, the House, in kind of, I guess, a ceremonial thing, because it has no teeth, it has no impact on the war, it has no impact on the president, but they voted 214 to 208 with about 4 or 5 for Congress, as is written in the Constitution. I don't think it has any chance of getting through the Senate. But this comes on the wake of the president announcing today that he intends to or is at least considering. In fact, let me just read what the president says, not try to put it in my own words. The president wrote, "I am considering a massive attack, bigger than before. I am close to taking a decision. We are all set for it. They haven't received enough pain," says the president of the United States. And as most of you regular listeners know, I'm on record of saying there will be no massive attack. I don't think there will be. Perhaps we're going after bridges and infrastructure now. I think the next phase, in some respects, will have to involve troops on the ground, that phrase that we repeat so often that so many people want to try to avoid. According to the New York Times, they have repositioned fighter squadrons. They have sent surgical operation forces to the area. And this is what frightened me the most. I don't know about you all, but they have sent 150 medics to Germany to be on standby. That sounds pretty damn ominous to me. And, we played you the audio, I don't know whether it was yesterday or the day before, of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs in questioning when he and Secretary of Defense Hegseth went before the Appropriations Committee in the Senate and said, the Joint Chiefs Chairman said, air power has its limits, meaning we cannot bombard them into waving the white flag. They are not going, the IRGC is not just going to turn over their arms because they're getting bombed. First, again, and just I'm reminding you because I know you're aware of this, but you're dealing with a regime that kills its own people. So us bombing them into submission, it's one of the reasons that Harry Truman at the end of the war bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because you're going into another person's country. I thought, learned this in Vietnam. And when you do that, just like if we were invaded by a larger country, that country is going to fight to the last man. To the last man. Is there really anybody out there that can hear my voice that really thinks that the IRGC at some point after 12 more days, and it's now 24 consecutive days, because this is the 12 more days of bombing, they're just going to say, we give up. We surrender. What do you want, Mr. Trump? You want the uranium? Come get it. We surrender. That's never going to happen. That is never going to happen. It didn't happen in North Vietnam. It didn't happen in Afghanistan. And it's not going to happen in Iran. It's just not. So the next phase of this that we need to get accustomed to is boots on the ground, whether it's Pickaxe Mountain or Karg Island. I don't perceive a massive group, but I think that's also a mistake that we learned from Vietnam, that you don't do it piecemeal. If you're going to do it, land the anvil and just kill it and end it as quickly as you can. But the situation is you're trying to take somebody's home. Let me ask you a question. How many of you thought that outside of 12 months, the Russians would still be fighting the Ukrainians? I don't know about y'all, but I gave it 12 months tops, and I thought I was exaggerating. Putin and his war machine will run through Ukraine in about 6 months. They'll wave the white flag, and this thing will be over, and it'll be on Joe Biden's head. And now what are we, going on into the 5th year of this thing? It's hard to sum up a war in a year or two. I don't care who it is, particularly when you're trying to take their home nation away from them. And in particular, when you throw in the pot the ingredients that the group that you're fighting are zealots, are religious zealots who have been planning on this and waiting for this confrontation with us since 1979. You know, we talk about this 47 years of harassment and attacking our bases and attacking our men over 47 years. You don't think these people have been prepared for this? You don't think these people want this? Because I think they do. I think the IRGC is absolutely reveling in this. That we're going to suck these Americans dry. Why? Because time is on our side. And the longer this goes, the worse it is for America. That's why that MOU was worthless. That's why I told you that 60-day ceasefire would never hold. That was, a 10th grader could have seen that. You should be ashamed for taking credit for predicting such. Anybody could have seen that. Except for those of you who believe that this thing is going well somehow. And I despise talking about it because I know there are a lot of you that think this is going well and that I'm somehow being, traitorous to criticize it. All I'm trying to do is prepare you for the inevitable. And I think the inevitable is men and women in Iran somewhere. It's coming. And what more massive attack can we have than what we started with at the beginning of the war? I understand there's a B-1 bomber that's moved into the area. But I thought one of the things that we learned was that these people can take a punch. And they're not just going to surrender their uranium. They're not going to surrender their territory. They're not going to surrender their arms just on the threat of massive attacks. And why is the president announcing the massive attacks? Why? Why are we telling them? Why not do this in the dark of night? In fact, I would have gone the other way. I would have said, you know what? I'm thinking about pulling back. And then bomb the living daylights out of these people. Because now the only end game is to win. It's either to win or cut and run. And I, as most of you, don't see the president cutting and or running. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Anything on the board?
Yeah, I got a couple.
What do you got?
AOC 22%, Hari 5%, HARRI.
No idea who that is. I think he's trying to say Harris.
Probably.
But Harris is at the bottom. She's at 5%. It's 22% for AOC, 21% for Pete Buttigieg, 9% for Senator Kelly, Mark Kelly out of Arizona, 8% for Mr. Newsom, 6% for the communists of BS. God dang it. Bernie, and 5% for Kamala Harris, 12% undecided. So, but I mean, it's so stupid early to talk about this. And again, history's not on their side. Nobody's really gone from Congress to the House, not directly. Many presidents once served in Congress, as I said at the top of the show, but going house to house, nope. And Garfield's an interesting story, actually. James Garfield was an interesting man. He was one of 4 to be assassinated, Mr. Burdick. Can you name the other 3?
Lincoln.
Boom.
Kennedy.
Boom. One more. I'll give you a hint, although it probably won't help you. Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt succeeded him.
I figured as much. I'll throw a rando out there. I don't think it's right. Truman?
McKinley.
Okay.
William McKinley. But Garfield died because of modern medicine in that century, because he died like weeks and weeks after. He died of sepsis, which means they either didn't take the bullet out in time or they boffed it. But he's an interesting character. He really, really is. He was very pro-civil rights at a time when civil rights weren't that positive, and was on his way to a fairly successful administration when he was assassinated. One more, and let's take a break.
Ralph, book a session at itsaswingthing.com. Indoor, air-conditioned, and private.
You know, I think I saw this. Is this what I was talking about? What the boy was doing on 17? Anthony, whatever his name is?
Sure.
No, I think that was a wing it. I think that was at a Wingstop or something. Remember we were talking about that?
Vaguely, yeah.
No, I film my own swing. But there is does anybody know what I'm talking about? This Wingstop that's added like a kind of a driving range that they monitor the speed of your club and all this nonsense. I think I found the slot. I was coming over the top and then using my shoulders to kind of make up for it and then having to stand up. But I think I found the slot that's more in here, than over the top. And I just come back and try to go inside. And again, it was my good friend Alan Cornejo who just happened. I busted a drive out of nowhere. I've been slicing drives all day long. And we go to it was the 11th hole, the par 5. And I bust the drive past the trap where I normally get to like the front of the trap. I'm now past the trap. I hit a drive 20 yards farther than I normally hit it. And as I'm picking up my tee, Alan said, wow, I came from the inside that time. And I was like, light bulb. And I started working on coming from the inside. In other words, keeping my right elbow as close to my ribs as I can. And then instead of attacking the ball with my shoulders, dropping my hands and then just accelerating with my body. You see what I'm saying? This is what I was doing. I was going here and then going here. Instead of going here, drop, and then turn. And there the face is closed as opposed to the face being open. And yes, you non-golfers, that's a minute and a half of your life that you'll never get back again. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. Mr. Turnipseed will join us at the top of the hour.
Over the phone.
Are you serious?
He just texted me.
What's up with him?
Don't look at me.
And
He
then
texted me. He'll be calling in today.
And then Daniel Petrey will join us at the bottom of the hour. This is the Ralph Bailey. Oh, you know what it is? He's at the coast.
Yeah, probably.
No good piece of crap.
Must be nice. Everybody's over there right now.
I know. And it's a beautiful day in Bakersfield. It's 94 degrees. Day for a picnic. Daniel Petrey at 4:30. You're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, it looks like more bad news out of the Strait of Hormuz there. It looks like the Houthis are in play now, and that's going to put oil back over $100 a barrel. That's going to be great for everybody. God help you. We got news, we got traffic, we got weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. Later, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
I'm John Busby with Team Busby Real Estate. And I'm Jonathan Busby with Team Busby Real Estate. We just wanted to talk with you about what we do as a team. We do a great job for our clients. Some of the things that we do is when we represent sellers, we don't just put the transaction together. We do our homework and we check their FICO score, source of funds, where the money's coming from, and the job stability. Because what we don't want is to get you into an escrow and the escrow falls out because we didn't do our homework.
With any sort of real estate need that you have, we can accommodate, whether it's residential, commercial, land, or multi-units. We have experience in all and can help you to a successful close.
The background that we have is I was a lender for 5 years. And so I learned quite a bit as far as how to keep a transaction together. We don't just put it together and hope that it closes escrow. Nothing's 100%, but we do stack it in your favor.
With any needs or questions with real estate, give us a call at 661-410-7355 or visit our website at www.teambusby.com.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon, Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Text SECURE to 989898.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
I just had a heart thumping experience. I'm trying to step up my steps, right? So I'm not just simply walking at the top of the hour and the bottom of the hour. I'm walking just every break. because I'm not going to Lost and Stay. Although I might go to Coconut Joe's. I haven't done that in a while. I can still get my steps in. And Tabitha, who is wont to park on the far side away from in front of the sales department, was getting in her car. And I was walking up the sidewalk, and I thought she saw me, and she was in her car with the door open, and I went to close it for her, and she let out a shriek. I almost ran. I thought it was a criminal. I almost took it on the lam. You'd had to finish the rest of the show. I'm wanted.
I thought for sure that's just funny to me because all I'm thinking is if there was a criminal there, you would not be the person to call for help.
No. And that's what I told her. I said, what if I was a criminal? You didn't see me walking up. You got to pay attention. I'm telling you, that's how women get robbed.
Yeah.
They're getting in their cars, either in a large parking lot or a mall or a grocery store, and they're not paying attention. They're putting their stuff away, and dude just walks up and says, give me your keys, get out of the car, or move over, or in the case of that one girl, well, let's don't talk about that, but it can be serious. But she scared the crap out of me. She shrieked like she literally went, ah! And I was like, what? Like for a tenth of a second, I actually thought I was a criminal. For a second, am I about to rob this woman? I was kind of scared. And we can't lose Tabitha. It's half the sales bar. Let me shut up. What else is going on? Let me read something. Somebody's in the chat room discussing my opinion on the war. Hang on, let me put my glasses on. I'm sorry, I'm an old man. I'm just getting older. Someone writes, General Kane did say air power has its limits. That's a contraction. You don't have to put apostrophe in there. It's not a contraction. I mean, that is, you just wrote, General Kane did say air power has its limits. Not that air power only won't work. You're speculating in this case with exaggeration. Desert Storm was one with air power. It's in all the papers. So you're suggesting that we're gonna bomb the IRGC in a submission? Is that your thesis? Because you're claiming that it worked in Desert Storm? Bet you believe that the IRGC is going to wave the white flag after another 12 or 24 or 36 days of bombing. Really? Okay. That's your opinion. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely redonkulous. And there was a reason that he said air power has its limits. Would he have said that if he was not trying to make the point that at some point you got to go in and fight the combatants? At some point. If we want to achieve what we're wanting to achieve, that is the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, they're still now talking about regime change. Or if we're talking about the ultimate victory, which I thought this whole thing was about, and that was getting the uranium. I don't know. I am so sick and tired of talking about this. I really, really am. But, each day I wake up and it's one of the biggest stories of the day. And if we end up in a full-fledged war, I feel like an idiot for not talking about it, not expressing my views prior to it, and sounding like, a Monday morning quarterback while we're in the midst of it. That's the only reason that I talk about it, because I do think that inevitably we're going to get into and I hate to use the Q word, but I don't know. What else you got on the board before we get Mr. Turnipseed on the
You were right.
phone?
Just Wing It in the Marketplace apparently has a golf simulator. I did not know this.
I told you about it. I told you Anthony Velasquez, the morning guy. I think that's his last name. The morning guy with Laura.
Yeah.
The morning show that I watched. I DVR it. I don't get up at 5 a.m., but I watch it every doggone morning.
I remember you bringing this up, but
he did a really nice package where he went. Apparently, he's a pretty big golfer.
Yeah.
Because he played one of our tournaments.
Yes, he did.
He's not very good. I saw it swing. But he's a pretty big golfer, and he did a nice little package on this place, and it looks pretty cool. Why? Did somebody give us some information on it?
No, they just said it was the Just Wing It in the Marketplace. It's the specific one inside the Marketplace.
Okay, so then I could kill two birds with one stone, because isn't that where the IMAX?
No.
The IMAX is at the Valley Plaza? Oh, it's at the Valley Plaza. It's at Reading.
Yes.
How do I
Christmas
find out when I can see
Odyssey?
Odyssey. You just call and say when's the first.
No, I would go on
showing.
Download the Fandango app on your phone. I'll do it for you. It'll show you all the movie times and stuff around your area
that are available. I'm not going anywhere but Reading.
Well, that's fair. I want to see this in IMAX as well.
Yeah, I don't want to see it on anything else.
I just got done talking to Rick about it myself here at the end of the JR show, but this movie looks incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's getting some. You want to hear some criticisms?
Criticisms?
Yes.
I have yet to hear criticism. That's incredible.
Yes, I've got it. I've got.
Oh, please tell me it's not like historical accuracy or something of that nature.
Well, it's not even historical. It's fiction.
Right.
But yes, it's somewhat based on that. I told you a little bit about it the other day, but I didn't play the audio. So we got a couple of minutes before we call Mr. Turnipseed. Let me get this woman in here. Please stand by. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? At Sunny Hostin. Did I pass her by? I must have passed her by. Please stand by. Don't go anywhere. What time we got? I got.
You know, it's funny. I while doing what you're doing, I do it all the time to find audio for my own show, and I'm telling you, some videos get taken down.
Yeah.
I don't know when or how, but like I'll go back looking for one that I know I saved, and it'll be gone. Just like it frustrates me, but it is what it is.
No, that's what's her name. That's Van Jones. Where is my girl? Oh, here it is. Yeah, here it is. Here it is.
Reportedly been. So, Lupita Nyong'o has reportedly been cast as Helen of Troy in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which is completely absurd. And of course, the left is immediately screaming racism at anybody who has a problem with this. So, let me just say for the record, I don't care. This is a ridiculous casting choice. Not because Lupita Nyong'o is not beautiful or talented, she is, but yes, because she's Black. And she's been cast to play a Greek character who has been described in classical poetry as having fair skin and flowing locks. In the original Odyssey, Helen of Troy is Mediterranean. So if you're turning this epic into a movie, you need to cast someone who looks Mediterranean. This, not Mediterranean, and that's okay. But it would be like casting a little white Irish boy to play Black Panther, which of course Hollywood would never do because only stories originating in a predominantly white culture are ever considered lacking and in need of a racial makeover. And
there's more to it, but that's enough for her. She's pissed.
I've seen this argument that she can't play Helen of Troy because she's Black and all that. Like, who cares?
That's what I don't understand. How is that keeping you up at night? How does that have to do with anything about the quality of the movie? What? It's 3,000 years old.
Right.
I mean,
here's the thing. They said the same thing about Elliot Page because everyone was up in arms
why
when they thought Elliot Page was Achilles, and he's not even Achilles. He's a completely different character. But
she goes on about is that the transgender kid?
Yes.
Yeah, she goes on about that. I just cut it short. I just didn't want to deal with it.
It's ridiculous.
It's just so stupid to criticize fictional characters. You know what I'm saying? Wait till we pop out Black Santa. That's really gonna get him. Quick time out. Mike Turnipseed joins us next.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Keith Peters in Washington. A Minnesota man who killed Democratic lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband has been sentenced to life in prison.
Vance Belter went to Hortman's home wearing a tactical uniform and mask about 3:30 in the morning on June 14th, 2025. He rang the doorbell while shouting he was a police officer doing a welfare check. Belter shot and killed Melissa and Mark and also a family dog. Belter was sentenced to 2 life terms plus 40 years after earlier pleading guilty to avoid the death penalty. Survivors of the attack spoke of enduring trauma, but say Belter failed to eliminate Melissa Hortman's spirit and legacy. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
President Trump is sending a clear message to lawmakers, Willie Nelson reports.
The White House says President Trump wants Congress
Congress to pick up the pace on the SAVE Act.
His patience is running out. He wants to see as much of the Save America passed as possible by the August recess. He knows that's what the American people want to see passed.
The SAVE Act would require proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote. Willie Nelson, the White House.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune reiterated that he does not believe he has enough votes in the Senate to pass the legislation. Violent storms have caused severe flooding in West Virginia. Governor Patrick Morrisey says flood damage is becoming the focus as rescue and recovery efforts narrow.
More roads have been reopened, and we know that many thousands of West Virginians have had their power restored. And of course, communities are beginning to do the really heavy lifting in terms of moving toward recovery, cleaning up, and assessing the damage.
Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Bertha is weakening after coming ashore near Galveston, Texas. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 506 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Kirk Cameron. Christian Healthcare Ministries is not another health insurance policy. If you're tired of year-long contracts and pointless restrictions, CHM offers anytime enrollment on your schedule and at your convenience. With CHM, you're paying half the cost of a traditional health insurance plan. So that puts more money back into your budget for everyday needs. Plus, you'll have access to CHM's care solutions for virtual appointments, prescription savings, surgery support, and more. My family and I joined in 2018, and it's changed our lives for the better. We love paying way less while helping other believers afford their medical bills. Take the leap of faith and see why Christians across the nation are better with CHM.
Get started by calling 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS for a 50% credit towards your first month. That's 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS.
Democrats are hoping to exploit a growing rift within the
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
In the June 18th dog attack in Cal City, I'm Chris Davis. The findings from the Kern County Coroner's Office have been made public after an autopsy of the 12-year-old boy who died when he jumped in the pond to get away from vicious dogs police say were owned by 68-year-old Kenneth Dobbins. The coroner's office confirms the cause of death was drowning and the manner was accidental, which may be crucial in the case against Dobbins, who was arrested in the incident. An 8-year-old girl was attacked by the dogs and survived. Some people on South Granite Road in the mountains north of Bakersfield were and are dealing with smoke from a fire that started Wednesday afternoon and had some evacuation warnings in place. And that fire is being called the South Fire, according to Kern Fire, and they say it had burned about 70 acres and some structures were in danger. No people have been reported hurt in that fire. Golden mussels may end up costing California plenty, not only in money for repairs, but also in the way it can stop farms from getting water as they clog pipes and pumps. But one company, CPRO Scientific, working with the Arvin Edison Water Storage District, believes they may have found a way to control the mussels, and that involves a copper-based solution. Kern County has declared a state of emergency because of the mussels, but that has not been done statewide. Whoever would steal an AC during the summer, well, Bakersfield police would like to catch them, and that person is described as wearing a black shirt and shorts and was seen on Rosedale Highway, where police say the attempted theft happened June 18th. They are asking for tips. The average price for a gallon of regular in California is up to $5.56 this afternoon, reports Gas Buddy, with a national average now at $4.08, and oil back up at more than $90 per barrel. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
To the rest, well, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want. Too late. They start shooting in a week. I'm gonna make them an offer again with you.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Thursday, 23rd day of July. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230, where we stream live at kernradio.com. Coming up about of the hour, our money man, Daniel Petrey, with Messmaker and Petrey Wealth Advisors. And 5, tell you the story of the federal prosecutors who were shut down by a judge trying to subpoena 3 New York Times reporters for their story on the president's gift from the Qataris, that 787, that didn't make its way back from Turkey. And that's the crux of the story. The Times was reporting that it didn't do so because of safety concerns. And as I think some of you know, the White House has been on a desperate search to find out who the leakers were. And so they subpoenaed the New York Times reporters trying to get their information, their phones, and find out who was the leaker. I'll tell you why a judge squashed that, or why actually prosecutors pulled back the subpoenas, because the judge was going to squash it, but technically they pulled it back. I'll tell you about that. And a huge signing for the Las Vegas Raiders. It's official. Mr. Mendoza is our, I was going to say starting quarterback, but I don't think he's going to start. I think they're going to go.
Not right away.
Yeah, I think they're going to go with Mr. Cousins for just a little bit. And let's hope that we never see Mr. Mendoza his rookie year. That means that Kirk Cousins has done a decent job. And right now, I'd take 9-8. I'm telling you, I'd take 9-8 and run like a thief, and maybe give Kirk one more year, and then we move on to Mr. Mendoza. But in the Turnipseed, where do we find you, Mr. Turnipseed? You're certainly not in studio.
No, I'm not, Ralph.
Where
I have to escape Bakersfield while I can, and I had the opportunity to be sitting someplace that's much cooler, and so I have to take the opportunity.
I understand. And what would you like to discuss this
Well, there's a lot of things to talk about
cool
today.
afternoon in Bakersfield? You know, it's only 94 degrees here in Bakersfield. It's a beautiful
Oh,
day.
well, golly, that's like almost like beach weather.
Doggone right. I'm in a long sleeve shirt and just returned from a very comfortable walk.
But Ralph, if you were, and you are, a member of the media and the press,
I
you've
am.
been in there.
I am.
Are you glad to see that somebody protected the sources of a reporter?
I am. However,
that's an important thing. That's not the main thing I want to talk about. But I think the fact that obviously when he goes over in this brand new spanking plane and he gets there, but somebody decides it doesn't need to fly back, somebody made that decision. And, you know, it's obviously in the best for the president to follow that kind of protection, because that's people's job to protect him from whatever happens.
Right. Well, I just wanted to make it clear, and we'll talk about this in the 5, that there is no law that forbids the government from going after reporters. That it's not like a lawyer-client privilege. That there are cases where the government, there have been cases where the judiciary, where a judge will side with the government and demand that the reporter.
And they will put people in jail. There have been
and
reporters that have gone to jail for long periods of time.
And that's exactly what I said, that it is the job of the journalist, therefore, because if they set a precedent that they will succumb to that kind of pressure and give up their sources, that's an angle of journalism that would die. And journalists depend on unnamed sources. I just broke a story yesterday that not a lot of people are very happy with me about, but I broke it nevertheless.
Oh, I'll have to go back and listen to your show and hear what it was.
Eurigio's is closing.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's quite sad. That's
it is
one of
very,
my
very
favorite
sad. Exactly. And they're one of my favorite families. And they're not very happy with me because I broke the story, and they're saying that they're going to reopen very soon, and that I just was going off rumors. And so therefore, in a couple of days, I'm going to explain how I have this cold But for right now, I'm just going to leave it alone and let people say bad things about me and think that I'm an irresponsible journalist. But in a couple of days, I'm going to explain how I have this absolutely 100% cold.
Just remember, Ralph, if you ever give up your source, you lose them forever.
I don't have to give up a source in this situation. It was just a journalism technique that I've learned that I use. That I believe me, I wouldn't say anything stupid.
Yeah, because they're the very nicest people.
They are, and it's unfortunate because I've been told
Claire
that she's
is just fabulous,
an angel, and I'm told she's not very happy with me, and that hurts me. It really does, because she is a wonderful, wonderful human being. She really is. So what would you like to discuss? You are becoming quite the author, Mr. Turnipseed. You were in the newspaper yet again.
Literally, there have been so many big issues coming up in the last 6-7 months this year. It's like this year, whether it's sewer water or council races, or now we're getting into sanctuary cities.
Yeah.
There are a myriad of things that, and I used to be kind of lazy, but I figure now you got to get it out there. You got to make it out and let people talk about it.
How
that's what it is.
How did the sanctuary city? Who and what or where is the origin of this?
Well, at the last council meeting, there were probably 9 or 10 people that got up asking, and I'm going to talk about this today. I already done my research on it, so you can be the most intelligent guy in town about sanctuary cities. I wanted you to, and so
please educate us all.
9 people got up and asked the city council to do a sanctuary city thing, like it's going to change the world and it's going to save everybody. In fact, some people talked about speakers at the meeting described families afraid to drive to the grocery store or send their child to school, and those fears are real. I mean, I'm not figuring that they're not, but it would be a disservice to let anyone believe the city ordinance makes them go away.
Right.
We already have a state law. It was called the California Values Act, SB 54, and took January of 2018, that already covers the city and everything. From the city may assist immigration enforcement if they want, but they don't have to under this protection. I mean, the state has already stepped up, and that's why the city of Delano a few months ago refused not to, because there's really nothing into it. If you wanted to be Bakersfield, just like Delano found out.
Wait, slow down, Mike. Slow down now. You're assuming everybody knows what you're talking about. Go back. Delano refused to do what?
Invoke a sanctuary city.
Thank you. Continue.
They had it back in, I think, March or April. And what they figured out is the only real thing the federal government can do to you is cut off your federal grants. Now, it's not all federal grants. Basically, they have not touched infrastructure grants or those kind of things that they do on an ongoing course of business. And I looked up the city budget and did the research as best I could. And these discretionary grants that the city of Bakersfield gets, and out of their $890 million budget, there's really only $6 million of these discretionary grants. It's not a lot of money, but those are the grants you hear that this government's going to take back from you. They're not going to let you get, if you decide to have a sanctuary city and you make the president unhappy. Those are the ones that will kind of disappear.
Right.
But that's not a very big percentage of really what it is. So, and Gary Cohen made the point that the state has the authority here and not really the city of Bakersfield.
Right.
And the governor has asked, let the state fight it, not the cities. So I think those are the reasons.
So then why I ask again, how did this originate? Whose idea was this? And why are they even contemplating it? Given the state law.
I'm contemplating it because they think it's something, there are members of the council that think this is something they can do. They
They
think they
actually-
can
they're-
protect the kids walking to school. They can't.
How do
The
they not? How do
answer-
they not know that?
I don't know why they don't or don't know it. I spend a few hours on the internet and I get all kinds of answers. So I guess if you do your homework, basically, there is very little operationally the city can go. All they can do is say, well, we're a sanctuary city because the state has already done what can be done, and there's very little things that the city can do. The police department policy already exists. It's under SB 54. The Bakersfield City Police Department does not work with ICE. Okay, that's fine. But the only thing you could actually do, and you don't need to have a sanctuary city, is there needs to be what they call the Truth Act Forum, which is basically transparency on what actually occurs between city agencies and ICE, and that opening up and telling the public what they are currently doing and what they can do, which they can't do much.
So, to put it in short, this is all performative. This is all for these people that are running. And if I were a smart challenger on the Republican side, I would certainly jump all over this as one of the dumbest, most ridiculous, symbolic things that this municipal government has ever tried to do. Would that not be a smart play?
It's definitely an election year thing. And I was going to get to that because I can tell you that when I get to the council races, we'll talk about a rumor I heard on the street. So,
Well,
but anyway,
let's
let's
hurry
finish
because we're
up
running out of
Sanctuary City first.
We need
All
to
right.
hurry because we're running out of time.
All right. Well, we talked about last week, Ward 3 has 4 candidates. Nobody's different. In Ward 4, Bob Smith and Ryan Cole. Ryan Cole manages a company out at the airport called Lloyd's Aviation, and Man Creek Car in Ward 7. So far, there's only 7 applicants. No one in Ward 1 has happened. But I heard on the street from a couple different people that Bob Smith has cut a deal with, quote, local Democrats. There won't be a Democrat in the Ward 4 race.
Really? And what did Mr. Smith have to give up to avoid
Well, and
such?
it's not giving up; it's maintaining the fact that he.
Well, no, you
is
said
involved.
you said he cut a deal. What's the deal?
Well, that he gets elected and he continues to vote with the other Ward 1, Ward 3, and Ward 7.
Well, I understand that, Michael, but by definition, when
That's
there's a
the
deal, one side gives up something and the other side gets something, and that person gives up something to get something.
Yeah, so Bob Smith gets free pass.
And what does he have
I'm
to
a
give up to
Democrat.
receive that free pass?
Just keep voting like he does in the majority.
Wow. I thought they call that corruption.
It's called politics.
Wow. That is interesting.
Well, that's what my source told me, and we will know whether it's true or not on August 7th if a Democrat actually enters the race or not.
Tell me about this aviation cat.
I don't know much about him. He runs Lloyd's Aviation. Lloyd's Aviation is a private charter plane outfit out at Meadowsfield.
Is he Republican or Democrat?
He's a Republican.
Well, he's become my that's where my vote's going.
You might want him on the show.
I'm going to get him on the show. Because
So
Bob
call
Smith
Lloyd's
will
Aviation out
say
there.
no, which will be just fine with me. Bob Smith does not belong on that city council. Would you agree on that? He's part of the he's part of the problem.
Many conflicts that he really shouldn't be on the council.
Thank you. Thank you. Well said, Mr. Turnipseed. Well said. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And now he's cutting deals with Democrats? I'll have to ask.
That's just a rumor. Well, we won't know until August 7th, Ralph.
Well,
Some
no, we've
renegade
got
might
Mr.
step
Flores.
in and run,
Mr.
but I
Flores.
just-
Mr. Flores has many connections within the Democratic Party. I'll get him on the case.
Yes.
We can
But,
find
I
this.
mean, we'll just find out if there's actually going to be a Democrat run. And in that way, there's no place for the Democrats theoretically to go but Bob Smith, because they're going to tell them to go for Bob Smith because Bob Smith works with the team.
Wow. That's as corrupt as it gets.
It happens all the time, Ralph.
I understand that. It doesn't make it any less corrupt.
Well, there's still Mr. Cowell running for seat. We'll see what the voters think and what they want to do, and if the voters in the 4th Ward, what they think. Because it's all the voters' choice, Ralph.
I'm well aware of that. Thank you.
So anyway, that was kind of the deal. It'll be interesting.
That's
to
a big
see.
story, Mike. That's a big story. And rare to get some inside info from you. Good googly moogly.
Well, it's just a very vicious rumor, but it makes absolutely perfect sense. Because I understand that the majority would swing dramatically if Ryan Crowell runs, if won the election. So it's in the Democratic interest to keep a Republican seat with a Republican who is working with you.
Wow. That's
But Rob, it's been that way for the last, how many years now? 4 years.
Yeah, that he's been in cahoots with these Democrats, and that's why he ran unopposed the last time.
Well, I don't know if it was the last time or not, if he ran unopposed or not, but I mean, the idea is he became part of the majority because it's better to be part of the majority than the minority. And he gets his favors that he wants out of that too. So it works.
Yeah. Are we certain it's going to be a majority? There are Democrats challenging that Weir seat as well. And with the number of Republicans, I'm beginning to be fearful that the vote could be split. That's why Republicans have to come out and support Cassie Biddle, because if the vote is split, a Democrat is going to win that seat.
Well, if Velasquez wins Ward 3, then Mr. Smith is in a boat without a paddle.
Who is Velasquez? You got to talk, Mike. You got to talk like nobody knows what you're talking about.
Velasquez, Regina Velasquez is one of the candidates in Ward 3.
Okay.
With Kathy Bill, Kathy Howling, and Juan Carlos Lums.
There you go. Well done. Well done. And
So,
she's the Democrat who would benefit if the Republican vote was split.
Yes.
That's scary. That is really scary.
So, but what that would do would put Bob Smith in no man's land.
Well, why do you say that?
Well, he's he's the 4th deciding vote. Takes 4 to tango. And without Bob Smith, Arias, Andre, and Manpreet don't have a 4th vote.
But I thought you were saying if Velasquez won, though.
But I said if she won, that throws a cog into Bob Smith's plan.
Why? Because he has no more leverage? Because he's not the 4th vote?
They don't need it anymore. They have 4 votes.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the 3rd and 4th districts are the real districts that are going to make the difference here.
Yeah.
And what happens, and I can say that I live in a county island, so I don't get to vote on anything, but I can just tell you what I find out.
Yeah, that was actually some good information, good inside info from Mike the Clam Turnipseed. Shocked. Pleasantly so.
Well, this is all about public information in an election.
Well, I appreciate that.
A lot of things behind closed doors. There's an old saying, loose lips sink ships.
Well, I like
so
loose
you have
lips.
to be careful.
I like loose lips.
But this is something that's pretty public. It's the election.
Yeah.
And most people who study this can see that with no Democrats, should be every ward should have a Democrat running, and if there isn't one, well, there's absolutely zero campaign. That the deal has been cut.
Good information, Mike. I got to fly. Enjoy the coast. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
See ya. Mike Turnipseed. Quick timeout. Not a lot of time before we get to our money man, Daniel Petrey, at the bottom of the hour. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
You know, it must be nice to be able to retire like Serena Williams and then say, I'm unretired. But for most of us, that's not the case. When we hang it up, that's about it. That's why you've got to be prepared for the late fourth quarter in your lives. And that's why I always stress that the smartest financial move I have ever made happened about 10 years ago when I became a client at Messmaker and Petrey Wealth Advisors. And the other thing I always remind you about, I've turned on colleagues here at American General Media to Daniel, and they could not be happier about what Daniel has done for them financially. Call Daniel Petrey at 395-9400, 395-9400, or just tune in on Thursdays. He appears here every Thursday at 4:30, and his office is located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. Daniel Petrey and the folks at Messmaker and Petrey Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrey or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrey Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Text SECURE to 989898.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230.
Consciously and subconsciously. I am convinced, because I've been using a pin when I play golf, I absolutely believe it helps me. I absolutely believe that. And I'm not the only one in our group on Sundays that does this. I'm not going to name any names, won't rat anybody out, it's people's business. But I absolutely believe I just take my little pin, and before I hit a shot, I just take a little shot, or before I have to make a putt. I don't do it like constantly throughout the round, just every now and again. And I really think it calms me down and it makes me focus. Like my best writing is when I'm high on THC. Now, granted, I understand that I'm not of sound mind. So it's the old phrase, everybody needs an editor. So my creative juices get flowing, but I tend to ramble a little bit. That's why I would never, ever smoke weed before I did the show. Never, ever. Because it would just be one long stream of thought, you know? And it just...
Squirrel.
Yeah, it just would be bad. It would be bad. Quick time out. We're off to 21st. And, Daniel Petrey is next.
On Keith Peters in Washington. The U.S. military announced Thursday that they are conducting their 13th night of strikes against Iran as clashes escalate over shipping routes. U.S. Central Command once again said the strikes are designed to further degrade Iran's ability to threaten civilian mariners and commercial vessels transiting regional waters as the U.S. pushes to regain control over the Strait of Hormuz and restore the flow of international shipping. President Trump is going ahead with new double-digit tariffs on dozens of U.S. trading partners just as the clock runs out Friday on stopgap levies he imposed after a stinging defeat at the Supreme Court. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 506 points, the Nasdaq dropped 553, the S&P 500 lower by 90. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Do you feel
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. Some info that may be vital for the prosecution in the case of a 12-year-old boy who died after jumping into a pond at a Cal City park back on June 18th to get away from vicious dogs. The Kern County Coroner's report confirms the boy died from drowning and the manner of death was ruled accidental. 68-year-old Kenneth Dobbins is under arrest in that incident. Whoever would steal an AC during the summer, well, Bakersfield police would like to catch them, and that person is described as wearing a black shirt and shorts and was seen on Rosedale Highway, where police say the attempted theft happened June 18th. They are asking for tips. Oil is back up to more than $90 a barrel, and the average price for gas in California is now $5.56, says Gas Buddy. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security. For the Central Valley, that means local service including burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and custom security designed to work with business operations. Bay Alarm has real people rooted in your community looking out for your business. After 8 decades and 3 generations of family ownership, our promise is still the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, it looks like more bad news out of the Strait of Hormuz there. It looks like the Houthis are in play now, and that's going to put oil back over $100 a barrel. That's going to be great for everybody. God help you. We got news, we got traffic, we got weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. Right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
It's a Thursday, time to head to 21st and 0. Check in with our money man, Daniel Petrey with Messmaker and Petrey Wealth Advisors. How are you, sir? Hello? Daniel?
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, what's going on? You did not
I'm
hear
doing well, thank you.
Did you not hear
the
your
phone?
Did you not hear your introduction?
I did, and I answered. Did you not hear me?
We did not hear you.
Uh-oh.
We got you now, though. What's really going on?
I don't know. Maybe I was listening to the last few minutes there, and Turnipseed was dropping some bombs.
Yeah, he did, just a little bit.
What's funny about Turnipseed is he was just like, "Oh, this is normal," and I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. That's why people don't like politics.
I know.
That shouldn't be normal."
Cutting deals and just not winning on your own merit. That's why I could never get in that business.
I've never. I hate office politics.
Yep.
I hate those kind of politics. I've never understood it, but I guess in a way I've never really understood people, but that's the way it is, I suppose. That's why I'm in the numbers game.
Yeah, it's a horrible, horrible business. You have to, first of all, you got to ask people for money, which I hate doing. Second of all, you are beholden to the people that you ask money from, which,
right.
Right. And then, yeah, you've got to cut deals. You've got to compromise. I think Bob Smith has some conflicts of interest, although we're not strong enough to go after him about it. But it's just, I don't know.
And I don't know how you compromise. Like, okay, thank you for your support, but Ralph, I really can't vote the way you want me to down the road because I don't believe in it. Well, then Ralph would be like, well, why am I supporting you then?
Yeah, the check stop. Exactly.
Yeah, what if your enemy supported me too? Well, which one supported me more? And well, I got to work both. Let me do this for him, and I'll get you later. And I don't know how you keep score like that.
You have to do things that you don't believe in, and it's the same thing in the radio business. I've been approached to change the way I do things, to preach to the choir more, and to appease my audience more. And I just don't think that's how you drive ratings. I really don't. Granted, there's no question in talk radio listeners want to be preached to. They want to hear what they want to hear.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't be a liberal commentator in a conservative radio. I mean, that wouldn't,
But I think I can be honest and try to represent what I believe are issues with a man who, even if he ran again, as critical as I am of Trump, yes, if you look at this list that came out of this New Hampshire poll, did you hear me talk about this at all?
No,
AOC is at 22%. Pete Buttigieg is at 21%. Mark Kelly is at 9%. Gavin Newsom's at 8%. Bernie Sanders is at 6%. And Kamala Harris is at 5%. If Trump were to run against any of those people, who the hell could I vote for?
I know.
AOC?
It's
Kamala? Gavin Newsom? Pete
when
Buttigieg?
you look at the alternative, it's like, well, who do I vote? I vote for somebody who I think is less bad, even if they may be bad.
I just think we're about to watch the crumbling of the Democratic Party. I really do. I think
they can't get out of their own way when it comes to the socialist part of the party.
That's what's going to tear them apart, because they are trying to get in bed without getting in bed.
Right.
And you can't be a little pregnant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Either you're going to support these people that believe in cutting off Israel, getting rid of prisons, getting rid of police, getting rid of borders, or you don't. It's one or the other. And
it's bizarre to me that I get that's where their energy is, and the whole, it's more anti-Trump than it is pro-us, but I just baffles me, because I'm like, you guys could walk into and win any you want, it seems like it, and yet you're going to shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
But thank goodness they will, hopefully.
Yeah, no kidding. It will save us. Although they're going to have a run. This will be popular with young kids, this democratic socialism.
I know.
They hear the
Has
word.
the world changed that I can't seem to. I can't seem to grasp that America is that way.
Yes.
I mean, that's not the America I know. It's not the America I love. It's not the America I grew up in. It's not the America I respect. And yet, and their desire to make things fair and help those their policies end up hurting the most baffles me.
We have raised a bunch of entitled children who aren't used to being out there battling for themselves, and have now, it's dawned on them that despite their college education, despite growing up in a 5-bedroom home with 3 baths and a pool, they'll never achieve that. Never. Many of them are in debt because of college loans, and many of them are in jobs that they're just not making the kind of money that their parents made, and the money doesn't go as far. When their parents were making 70, 80 grand, they were living in a pretty nice upper class neighborhood.
Middle class,
Now you're making 70, 80 grand, you're in a condo if you're lucky, or a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
It's the reality. So now you've got Memdani and this group of people talking about free. And they're like, what? Sign me up. Let's go.
He scares me because he's very effective at how he does it. If you listen to what he actually says or stands for, it's like, wait, what? That's
well, yeah. Socialism on paper seems to make sense. We lift everybody, all boats rise, but somebody's got to pay the bill.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
until you run out of other people's money.
That's what Margaret Thatcher says. Socialism works until you run out of other people's money, and that's the bottom line. You got to generate revenue. And who knows that?
Go ahead.
Who knows that better than Bakersfield? Generating revenue.
There you go.
Movie. But
hey, I saw a little buzz from you. I think it was via Facebook about the restaurant in town that's.
Yeah, Eureka's is closing.
Forever?
Yes.
No.
Yes. The public relations line they're saying is that they're going to reopen in a couple of months. But I have it on pretty good information that's
I
simply not
trust
true.
your intel.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that it's probably destroyed my relationship with the Enriquez family, who have been
Oh.
incredibly kind to me.
Oh,
But,
no.
you know, when you're a player in this town,
Should I not bring it up? I'm sorry.
well, I wish you hadn't, but that's okay. We brought it up earlier. I brought it up earlier.
I
But you
apologize.
can't create your own narrative. You know what I'm saying? You can't just say, yeah, we're going to reopen when it's really not the case. I don't know.
Well,
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
maybe you're
You know
wrong,
what?
yeah.
Honest to God, I hope I'm wrong.
Right.
I hope I'm wrong. I
Yeah.
hope I'm wrong, but I know
Well,
I'm
I
not.
apologize if I put my foot in my
No.
mouth.
We talked about it earlier in the show.
Okay.
And we talked about it all day yesterday. Where'd you see it on Facebook?
I don't know. I think I saw a post that it was closing for vacation, and then somebody said that you said on the show that you had intel that it was forever. I don't know if they said the show, but they mentioned your name and that it was that it won't reopen. And
I wish I was wrong. I wish I
yeah,
was wrong.
well, and I knew that, and I thought, well, I think Ralph would know that pretty well. I mean, I trust his intel, but.
And I may explain one day how well, maybe not. I don't know. How is the president's claiming that a massive attack is imminent? How is the market handling this?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because I kind of got the hint that it seems like, and he reached out to Iran and said, hey, you want to, make a deal? And they're like, no. And so, yeah, not only are we preparing based on moving more to the area, Israel, I think, is a lot of the embassies, have moved their people out of. It's almost like
something's
we're warning everybody that it's coming.
Something's coming.
I would assume this weekend when they like to do it when the market's closed.
At the top of the shoe, that's good information. I did not know that.
Yeah, they especially Trump. He doesn't, if he can, and do it on a Saturday and get it over before the weekend, and then before Monday open, he would say that they want to make a deal, and the market would kind of tolerate it better. But
that's interesting info. Yeah,
I don't know if he can get away with that now, but
yeah, as I stated at the top of the show, they've moved surgical operation forces into the area. They've repositioned fighter squadrons. And the most scary thing for me, they have moved 150 medics into Germany. That scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, I did see that. And my first thought was, okay, he wants to show them that it's the real deal, so make a deal. And I think they gave him, a thumbs down for that. And I think Trump's gonna. It seems like we'll ratchet it up.
And Rubio was on television this morning, and he said, they make a deal, because I think he's the only real adult in the room. And he said they make a deal, then they break a deal, and they make a deal. Well, because you're dealing with the clerics, you're dealing with the face of the organization. I was trying to think of the guy in Casino, Mr. Green. Remember Mr. Green in Casino?
Yeah.
He was the guy that signed all the bills, but the mafia was really running the show. Well, that's the same thing in Iran. They put up these clerics, and they sit with Vance and whoever.
And they seem normal,
but it's the IRGC. It's the mob that's running the show.
Yeah.
And so they say,
let's fight.
Yeah, exactly. They come back with a deal, and the IRGC says, what? Please, get that out of our face.
That's no deal. We're going to fire.
Let's
shut the strait.
Let's bomb the air base in Jordan. Kill a couple of kids who just came home the other day.
Yeah. Market's holding up. Oil, of course, is up above 92 as we speak, so it's kind of had a run.
So it came down, because I read this morning it was over 100.
Today the market didn't like it. S&P was down about 90 for the day, although the S&P is still up year to date, a little over 8%. But if our escalation leads to more chaos from Iran being able to attack, those neighboring countries and doing damage to oil or desalination plants or whatever.
UAE. Yeah.
But I don't know what their capability is as much as we have hit them. So we shall see.
Yes, we shall, unfortunately.
However,
yes,
I will state that, we talk about the debt and money, and so far the Iran war estimate has cost us over $11 billion.
$11 billion.
And actually, I think that was posted in March.
Yeah, because
So-
I read 37 billion.
Yeah, I'm sure we're way over that. And once we have to replenish, which leads
bases.
me, which is a nice segue into our debt issue. And we had a big jump. We went up
Lord.
over 159 billion this week. Wow. So that gets us over $1 trillion for the year. So we're just under 7 months, and we've been up a little over $1 trillion in debt for the year.
At what point does this become critical?
Well, it will. I don't know the exact number. It's almost like a household saying it's manageable, we can do it until it
Until it's not.
Yeah, until it all crumbles down. And if we don't, I've been preaching this to the choir. If we don't do something about it, which we never seem to do, eventually it will be an issue. And I'm afraid, I'm long term. I'm afraid of what will come.
What are the ramifications?
The ramifications would be the dollar would continue to lose value.
Yeah.
So you lose purchasing power on everything. So inflation is harder, which means those at the bottom who get hurt a lot will be hurt even more.
Yeah.
And, the ability for us to borrow would get hampered because people would say, hey, you can't pay us back. We don't, we want more interest if we're going to give you money, which costs us more money, which means our dollar, if it gets bad enough, you have a hyperinflationary event. Now, we haven't had one of those in a very long time, and we've gotten the ability to get around that by being the reserve currency of the world. But I would hate to see it happen.
When it goes from 29 billion to in the hundreds of billions, how is that not the lead story on the Wall Street Journal?
Yeah, I'm amazed. Usually if it hits like, how we've talked, we're going to go from 39 to 40 trillion here probably before the end of the year. When we hit 40, you'll probably see a little bit about it because it's kind of a big number and a round number. But I mean, news today, give it 15 minutes and they're on to something else.
Yeah. They got bigger fish to fry right now, apparently.
And right now we're able to do it, but that doesn't mean we're in good shape either.
Again, I'll say it again, as I've said time and time again, I feel sorry for our children and our grandchildren. I really do. I really do. Because it's gonna come home to roost at some point.
And to be honest with you, some of the things you've indicated that we talked about with, the kids are having a harder time. If you make this much, you can't live the way we did 50 years ago. A lot of that is because dollars don't go as far as they were, and a lot of that is due to inflation and the debt and the choices we make that seem okay now, but they really add on. And unfortunately, politically, it seems the answer to that is to run to socialism, which is more a nightmare than an answer.
Yeah, it's a Band-Aid. It's not a cure. It's a Band-Aid for a gunshot wound.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you and I are the only ones screaming that we can't put Band-Aid on a cancer, but
no, I think that's the consensus. They've just hit some very liberal areas of the country. But when they try to go national with this, it's going to destroy the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do that in Indiana, but even though you can in LA or New York.
Exactly. Always good to talk to you, sir. Have a wonderful weekend.
Always good to be on the radio. Hey, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth at all again, but
what do you got?
How is your mother?
She's doing better. She's doing better.
Good.
She's doing better. We're just concerned about her kidneys. But
Right.
she had, what's today? Thursday. She had dialysis today, and she's doing much better. She's about to celebrate
Good. Well,
her 84th birthday at the end of the month.
You've got to text me updates because I got to remember to pray for her.
I will. Thank you, sir. Thank you for all your thank you for all your help, by the way.
Anytime, my friend.
All right, take care, man.
Okay.
Daniel Petrey, quick timeout. We'll check the board. Headed into the 5. We'll tell you the story of the federal prosecutors who are backing off subpoenaing New York Times reporters. That's coming up. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. We stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
Because I think I might finally be growing up a little bit. There's not a lot of things from your childhood that you will see that just snap you back to a better time just instantly and fill your heart with glee. A perfectly restored, 100 points out of 100, restored Honda Trail 90.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
I had the double experience at Casey Steakhouse Friday night. I started in the stockyard next door, met a friend and had a couple of cocktails there, and then went next door to the main restaurant where Bobby and Jimmy are performing Tuesday through Saturday nights, as they were Friday, and had dinner in the main restaurant. And I did not have red meat. I had the chicken, the Ralph Bailey, that chicken breast that I talk about. But again, it's about expanding the menu. And if everyone is not feeling, there was a birthday party going on. That's what I talk about. Casey Steakhouse is famous for birthday parties and anniversaries and meetings and large tables of 12. And again, not everybody is feeling the ribeye, which is probably the most popular, the New York, my favorite, along with the filet. And so there are alternatives. Chef Daniel has expanded the menu. I've told you about the lobster mac and cheese, the different fish dishes, the chicken breast, the specials of the day. Where would you rather be than either in the stockyard right next door or the main restaurant, KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsor of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Carpet Outlet Plus is celebrating 30 years in business by offering you no interest financing for 12 months. Head over to carpetoutletplus.com to apply now. You can get new waterproof flooring and comfy carpet in the bedrooms, all from one trusted place. Over 70,000 customers can't be wrong. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Shed a pocket full of horses, Trojan and some of the news. It was Saturday night. I guess I
Live and learn, teach and turn. Because I did not know, I ran into a thing on Facebook, or actually it's on Instagram, 10 pitchers who never won a Cy Young. And I did not know that Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young. How is that possible? How is that possible? I'm telling you, they wouldn't put it in here if it weren't true. Do you want to hear the list?
I do, but no, I'm more checking something myself. I was more saying when the Cy Young War began.
Oh, long before his career.
Figured. That's why I wanted to make
career.
sure, just for like time purposes for my head.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Siri.
Started in 1956.
Yeah, I was going to say, long before Nolan Ryan's career. Curt Schilling does not have a Cy Young Award, although I'm not a fan and never was, so I don't feel sorry for him. Mike Mussina of the Yankees.
Set the alarm for when?
Shut up, Siri. Okay. Let's turn that off. Juan Marichal. You don't know who that is, do you?
The name is very familiar.
Great giant pitcher, I hate to confess. Does not have a Cy Young Award. Bert Blyleven, greatest curveball in baseball. 3,000 strikeouts.
Better than Kershaw's?
They're comparable. He had the over-the-top curveball that looked like a fastball, and it looked like a fork ball, but it was a curveball. He threw it over the top and came over the top.
You know, I was thinking about the other day, and I know it's probably a sore spot, but I miss watching Tim Lincecum pitch.
That freak.
That guy was crazy.
Bert Blyleven, I mentioned him. The rest of these guys, like, wow, don't throw them on the list. John Lester, didn't deserve it. He had one great season that one year where he won 19 games. Jim Cott, who was a long career guy, but he never really had a breakout. Adam Wainwright.
Whoa. Oh, you know what? No, that's true. He had a long career with the Cardinals, but he was never the best pitcher.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
baseball.
Just because you get a lot of wins
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you had a 22-game season.
You
know
get
what I
in the
mean?
Hall-
Just because you win 14, 15 games for over 10 years, that's a great career, but you never were in that upper echelon. Another one, Mark Langston, great pitcher, but just not ever had that one season. And Don Sutton, who I grew up watching. Don Sutton was great. Don Sutton was a perennial 20-game winner for the Dodgers and would get complete games. And
who was Nolan Ryan ever close?
I don't know.
He would have to be, right?
You would think the year that he had 2 no-hitters, he didn't win the Cy
Exactly.
Young.
How do you not win the Cy Young that year?
I have no idea. And you would think at the end of his career, they'd have just given, like they gave Paul Newman one. You know what Paul Newman won his Academy Award for? The Color of Money, which was a remake or a sequel to HUD, which he should have won. Not HUD. The Hustler, where he plays a pool shark who's going after Minnesota Fats, who was an actual real pool hustler. And the Minnesota Fats is played by Jackie Gleason, who I believe did win an Academy Award. And so it was at the end of his career. Newman should have won it for The Verdict, where he plays a drunken lawyer. He should have won it for HUD. He could have won it. I mean, there are just so many. Could have won it for Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I mean, there's so many great. Hell, he could have won it for being Butch Cassidy. For all they don't give him out for westerns. But at the end of his career, they realized, Paul Newman's never got, because his performance in Color of Money was average, above average, wasn't anything close to it. And so you would think they'd have done the same thing for Nolan. Just like the old man's about to retire. But I guess at the end of your career, you really can't gin that up when a guy's got 14 wins and somebody else has 21.
Yeah, but it's Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, that's, to be honest with you, that's the only name on that list that really blew me away. Kurt Schilling was close, but a lot of his drama came in postseason.
Right.
Don Sutton just was in an era where it was like post Sandy Koufax and Drysdale and those guys in the early 70s, where there were a lot of really superior pitchers. But Nolan was shocking. It really was. In fact, tonight I'm going to go back and look at some of his seasons, some of his wins, what his ERA was.
There's no way he wasn't close. He had to have been at least second place once.
I'll look it up during the break. As we head into the 5, federal prosecutors had to back away from subpoenaing New York Times reporters who broke the story about security risks on Trump's gift, that 787 the Qataris gave him. We'll unpack that for you. And we got a bunch of sports news. The Dodgers were in the District of Columbia getting love from the president. Meantime, the Raiders made a significant signing today. We'll get into all that. It's the Ralph Bailey Show, headed into the 5. I'd stick around if I you.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield, an American General.
He finished second one time in 1973.
73 when he was a kid?
Pitching for the Angels, he went 21-16 with a 2.87 ERA, 383 strikeouts.
That's the problem. 21-16.
Yeah.
That's a lot of losses.
Well, yeah, because they were playing longer back then, though. They made you ride it out more.
And he was on a shitty team. The Angels were horrible.
Right, exactly. So even if they scored 2 runs,
With a bad team.
right.
Who won?
Losing the award to Baltimore's Jim Palmer.
See?
Still done.
That was Don Sutton's problem. What did you say? What Palmer's record was?
In 1973, Palmer went 22-9, 2.40 ERA.
That's pretty damn good. And what was Ryan's ERA?
Like 2.80. See, he struck out half of the amount of batters, though. He only had 158. Well, Nolan had 380.
He had 380?
That's what they're saying, is that year he had 380. It was a major league record.
And he didn't win? That ain't right. He should have won that year.
His ERA was 0.47 higher than his. He had more wins, technically, but more losses. And he doubled the amount of strikeouts, but didn't win that year.
That ain't right.
For a stinging defeat at the Supreme Court. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 506 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Sorry, my mistake. They had the same amount of wins. Jim had one more. He had 22 over Nolan's 21. Still doesn't matter, but...
Right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health.
Well, but again, it's like you said with the year he had 2 no-hitters, he didn't win it that year. You set a record for strikeouts in that modern era, and he didn't get the award. That's favoritism.
That's still a record.
That's what it says. It says at the time it was the major league record.
I bet it still is, though. Hey, Siri, who has the record for most strikeouts in a season?
Here's an answer from Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's still him.
See? Nobody will break that.
Oh, Mark Reynolds has the batting record for 223. Oh, God.
What?
You remember Mark Reynolds, the third baseman?
Yeah.
The one for the Diamondbacks for a long time that would really only hit home runs or strike out. He holds the record for strikeouts by a batter in a single season for 223 in a single year. That must suck. I remember when he was big, too. Him and Chris Davis both looked like they were about to be such huge superstars, and then they just fizzled out.
Manner was accidental, which may be crucial in the case against Dobbins, who was arrested in the incident. An 8-year-old girl was attacked by the dogs and survived. Some people on South Granite Road in the mountains north of Bakersfield were and are dealing with smoke from a fire that started Wednesday afternoon and had some evacuation warnings in place. And that fire is being called the South Fire, according to Kern Fire, and they say it had burned about 70 acres and some structures were in danger. No people have been reported hurt in that fire. Golden mussels may end up costing California plenty, not only in money for repairs, but also in the way it can stop farms from getting water as they clog pipes and pumps. But one company, CPRO Scientific, working with the Arvin Edison Water Storage District, believes they may have found a way to control the mussels, and that involves a copper-based solution. Kern County has declared a state of emergency because of the mussels, but that has not been done statewide. Whoever would steal an AC during the summer, well, Bakersfield police would like to catch them, and that person is described as wearing a black shirt and shorts and was seen on Rosedale Highway, where police say the attempted theft happened June 18th. They are asking for tips. The average price for a gallon of regular in California is up to $5.56 this afternoon, reports Gas Buddy, with a national average now at $4.08, and oil back up at more than $90 per barrel. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
To the rest, well, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer again with you.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Thursday, 23rd day of July. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1, AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. We still got lots to do in the final hour. Haven't gone to Wisconsin to tell you about the knife-wielding man that was shot down by police, and now Democrats are screaming, liberals are screaming, black folks are screaming. Another black man shot by the police. Another black man shot down by the police. They're screaming in the streets of Madison, Wisconsin. The only issue is he was Hispanic. Other than that, they had the story absolutely correct. And I'm sorry. If you're wielding a knife and fighting with the police, you are going to die, and you deserve to die. I'm sorry. Fighting with the police, to me, because there are criminals and then there are criminals, right? We all know somebody who's committed a crime, right? You're all listening to someone who has committed a crime, right? But fighting with a police officer, that's on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? And if you're willing to roll on the ground with the cops, what happens, happens, Jackson. I'm sorry. Even if they shoot you and you're unarmed, if it's an older cop and he feels like he's losing this thing, and the guy's trying to get after his gun, and the cop shoots him, lo siento, was wheeling. In fact, one of the cops, there were 4 cops involved. They're all on paid leave, obviously. One of them was stabbed. No, you're getting shot. I'm shocked that all 4 of them didn't shoot this son of a gun. And then black folks are running through the street claiming racism, but he, according to his arrest records, Corey Ruiz is Hispanic. Do you see how this is? It's not about the person. It's about the team. And it's about trying to find a cause. That's one of the reasons I haven't talked about this Nolan Wells thing. Although, I might have to get into this. You know what I'm talking about this Nolan Wells story?
I think I do. This is the athlete, correct?
The black kid that went down from Mississippi and he disappeared, and now they've got Ben Crump involved, who is the biggest shyster. And whenever you see Al Sharpton involved, you know something ain't right. And I've just avoided it because I think they're wrong. And then guess who is taking it up? Nancy, oh Lord, I'm forgetting her name. Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace is getting involved. And she claims that she believes that there's something ain't right. And I saw that last night on television. I was like, ooh. Now, they had an autopsy and they had this big press conference because Ben Crump is a dead body chaser. You know how they call defense attorneys ambulance chasers? Well, Ben Crump is a coffin chaser. If a black child dies, you can rest assured Ben Crump will be there. I'm shocked that those idiots down in Texas with the boy that stabbed the white boy didn't get Ben Crump. We know now why, because Ben Crump is expensive and they wanted to keep all the money that they raised. But that's a whole nother story. But Nancy, what did I say her name? Nancy Grace is starting to talk about this on her podcast. So I haven't listened to it. I haven't really paid attention to the story, how the kid disappeared, why they think that it was foul play, but just saying. 842-5376, 842-KERN. So federal prosecutors in the Department of Justice have dropped the subpoenas against the 3 New York Times reporters who they subpoenaed at their home. And which, again, as I said at the top of the show, from what I've been told, because I've never been served a subpoena or never served a subpoena, but I understand that this is extremely rare and kind of over the top. I mean, imagine, it's 6:30. I'm just getting home. I'm about to eat my coconut joes, have my little vodka and cranberry, and watch the Dodger game. Well, the Dodgers didn't play today. What am I watching tonight? Is there anything on tonight? WNBA, good googly moogly.
Probably.
Did you see your girl had a nice night the other night? Everybody's pouncing on me, telling me whenever she has a good night. She had 27. I'm talking about Caitlin Clark. She had 27 points. And then I always come back at them. I said, but you didn't look at the box score, did you? She's a nightmare, dude.
Oh, in terms of turnovers, she's awful.
She had 7 turnovers. Yeah. She had more turnovers than the entire rest of her team, and she almost had more turnovers than both teams combined.
You know what it is? They need to start using her like Steph, because Steph, if you notice when you play the Warriors, you watch the Warriors, Steph doesn't normally play the facilitator. He's the one running off the screens, taking the shot. That's what they need Caitlin to start doing, is get a motor and just run her off screens all game.
Well, because I think they believe that the black girl is the better scorer. And I think she's the better point guard. She does pass well. She is a good assist. She probably led the team in assists last night. But I think her turnovers, we talked about this, I think. I didn't send you that tape where she trapped twice on the same play.
Oh, yeah, I don't think you sent me that.
I'll send it to you during the break, where she literally traveled twice in the same play. And then neither one of them were called. Where she was coming off a screen. She's coming off a screen, and she takes 3 steps to catch it, and then she starts to step again. You've already taken 3. You can't take another one.
Right.
So she essentially takes 4 steps, and she does it again on the very same play, where they swing it back around, they swing it back to her, and she shuffles her feet.
Telling you, I want to see Snacks' NBA referee play or rule book, because I guarantee you, traveling's not in there no more. I guarantee it.
It's gotta be in
I don't know. With some of the stuff these players do these days, I really wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, Giannis, the worst offenders are the big men.
Yes.
Particularly on breakaways, where I saw Giannis travel from the free throw line.
Oh God, he's
literally
awful. He's got terrible footwork.
He took like 4 to 5 steps, and they did not call it. I mean, it was bad enough when they got rid of, because I'm old enough, Mr. Burdick, you never had to deal with this. I once got called for carrying the ball.
Oh, carrying was still that was a big thing for us too.
They don't call that.
They don't call that anymore.
These guys put their hands on the bottom of the ball. Are you kidding me? I just kind of did like a side thing. I was trying to turn the corner, and I tried to protect the ball and bring it back. And he said I palmed it. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That's like calling a foot fault. What's the matter with you? You know what I'm saying? Foot fault? Nobody calls foot faults. God almighty. But this is a huge story, actually, this New York Times story, and the fact that the government is going after these reporters. I do want to be fair about this, though, and make it clear that there's no law that protects journalists from going to jail for not giving up their sources. There have been cases. There's a very famous Supreme Court case in 1972. And this isn't uncommon. Let me be fair to the Trump administration. This isn't uncommon. Obama did it, where there's nothing worse in a White House than a leaker. There's nothing worse. And every administration wants to get to the bottom of it. Nixon was crazy about it. I mean, absolutely insane about it. And I was shocked that Susie Wiles, who I thought was one of the few adults in this administration, was asking for employees of the White House to turn in the phones. I mean, I suppose you signed something in the White House that basically throws away all your rights, but good God almighty, that's a blatant offense of the Fourth Amendment, search and seizure. You can't go through my damn phone. My girlfriend can, and that's how at least one of my relationships ended. I never thought she'd go through my phone. And I went and took a shower, and I've told this story 100 times. Our relationship was coming to an end. It really was, because I was seeing somebody else who was kind of dynamic. And I'm not going to name any names, no disrespect to the girlfriend at the time, but I was younger and stupid. And she never, ever, she just wasn't the type of person that would send nude pictures. But she knew, I mean, she had to know, because all of a sudden she's sending me these nude pictures. And I go in and take a shower, and I come back out, and my girlfriend's standing in the middle of the room. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? It's like midnight. Why aren't you getting ready for bed? And she tossed me my phone,
And I had a flip phone. That's how long ago it was. And she just said, get out. I'm like, are you serious? Yes, just get out. And I had to pack up all, because I was basically living there. And I had to pack up all my stuff. And this is so long ago, I had to call a cab. And I'll never forget, I've told this 1,000 times. I'm sitting on her porch in the hood. She lived in the hood too. I'm sitting on her porch with my golf clubs, my little mini TV, just everything I owned. It's sitting on that freaking porch, waiting for, and of course, it's 2 in the morning, it's 1 in the morning. Cab comes like a half an hour late. I'm out there for a good half hour, thinking somebody's gonna jack me for my clubs, steal my television. I'm just sitting there, just miserable. Lost my girlfriend. And at the time, the girl that I was seeing was married. Now, hold on, just relax. She was separated. She had moved out of her house, but she was married. And in fact, karma is a bitch, isn't it? Because about 8 months later, when I started working here, we just talked about this the other day. I was going to the John Hatton Non-Memorial Golf Tournament, where later in the afternoon, all the girlfriends and wives are invited. And in the 3 or 4 years that I had played, I'd never had a girlfriend come. And Lori was going to come, and she called me at the golf course, and I was playing well. And I said, I'll talk to you later. She goes, no, we really need to talk. I said, no, okay, I'll talk to you when I'm finished. And I called her at the end of the round. I said, so what time are you coming to Hatton's house? Did I give you these directions? She said, I'm not coming, Ralph. And I said, why not? What are you talking about? All my friends are excited to meet you. She said, my parents and my grandparents sat me down and told me that I have to reconcile with my husband at least until the kids graduate from high school. And that was the last time I talked to her for about 6 months. And then she got into some crazy situation down south, and she called me, and that was the last time I ever talked to her. I'm okay. I thought she was the dream girl, dude. I thought she was the dream girl. She was independently wealthy. She bought me things. She was my little, not that I wanted a sugar mama. She was my realtor. And she was, we were looking for she was trying to get me, she hated that I rented. And she was trying to get me either into a condo or a home. And we were running around one day looking at condos. And she said, I got some really bad news. And I said, what? And she said, I'm divorcing my husband. And I literally jokingly, this is a beautiful 6 foot tall, rich white woman, doesn't want to have anything to do with 45-year-old man making 35 grand at the time. And I said, well, just date me. Totally joking. And then there was like some silence in the car. And she said, are you serious? Yeah. And we started talking about it. And she was like, well, let's go to dinner and see. And I was like, holy crap, that beautiful woman gonna go out with me. And broke my heart. Karma is a bitch. And I begged Monica to come back to me for years and years and years. Ooh, why did I say a name? God dang it. Let's take a break. I'm so stupid. So stupid. In fact, she just broke up with her girl. We're still in contact because I've helped her boys. Her boy is in Marines. I told you that story, where he's in cybersecurity. And so he put me down as a reference, and the government called me. I'd never been so scared in my life. Not that, I just thought I'd say something that would screw it up for her son. But they were on the phone with me for a half an hour, asking me, do I know what he read? Do I know, what kind of politics he was involved with? What kind of groups? I was like, look, we dated for like 2.5 years. I didn't know the child that well. Slow down there, Uncle Sam. But yeah, that's a reality. You get a child into cybersecurity or working for the FBI or something like that, working for the government, and whatever name they put down, they will call and sometimes come visit and come interview you. Quick time out. We'll check the board, see what y'all are talking about. Bottom of the hour, we'll talk a little sports. Lots going on in the world of sports. And Felix Mendoza is officially a Raider.
Fernando.
What'd I say?
Felix.
That's his nickname. That's what his mama calls him. You didn't know that?
You didn't know that?
I know.
I thought you knew that.
Interesting.
Yeah, my man Felix. I'll tell you the numbers. And for a rookie, he got a. What happened to that $400,000 a year deal for the rookies? This boy is making bank. Timeout for doing nothing. Because I don't think, let's all pray, Raider fans, we don't see him on the field this year. You know what I'm saying? Because if we see him on the field, we're 1-4. You know what I'm saying? Quick timeout. Coming right back. It's TRBS on a Thursday right here on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
Judge blocks the Virginia law barring ICE agents from wearing a mask. Can you believe that? Can you believe they have to have a law prohibiting masks? That's the insanity going on. A judge ruled that it's likely unconstitutional. All they had to do was get a message from the DOJ. Excuse me, but that's unconstitutional. Go away. You know, swat them like a fly.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
If you're a local businessman and you take your IT seriously, there are two things that you absolutely need to do. One, you need to listen to the Ralph Bailey Show on Wednesdays at 3:30 when Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne, owner-operators of Adaptive Networks, come in, basically talking to business folks on what you should be looking for, what should be alarm bells when people are coming back and fixing the same thing over and over again. And the next thing you need to do is pick up the phone and call the Van Alstynes at Adaptive Networks at 241-0638. 241-0638. As I have talked about so often, we have teamed up for almost a year with American General Media and Adaptive Networks because as a radio station, we absolutely depend on our IT. So we had to go to a team that was reliable, competent, and has the best customer service in Kern County. If you're a serious business person, call the folks at Adaptive Networks at 241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez. Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon, Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
I'm John Busby with Team Busby Real Estate.
And I'm Jonathan Busby with Team Busby Real Estate.
We just wanted to talk with you about what we do as a team. We do a great job for our clients. Some of the things that we do is when we represent sellers, we don't just put the transaction together. We do our homework and we check their FICO score, source of funds, where the money's coming from, and the job stability. Because what we don't want is to get you into an escrow and the escrow falls out because we didn't do our homework.
With any sort of real estate need that you have, we can accommodate, whether it's residential, commercial, land, or multi-units. We have experience in all and can help you to a successful close.
The background that we have is I was a lender for 5 years. And so I learned quite a bit as far as how to keep a transaction together. We don't just put it together and hope that it closes escrow. Nothing's 100%, but we do stack it in your favor.
With any needs or questions with real estate, give us a call at 661-410-7355 or visit our website at www.teambusby.com.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1.
Got a bunch of avocados, got some cherries. Spent $45 in that joint last night.
Hey,
I know. It's expensive. I bought some those oatmeal bars. I went with maple walnut.
Ooh.
Yeah, doesn't that sound good?
It
I
does.
have no idea what it is, but I went with it. And then the one with the peanut butter and jelly in the middle. That's my favorite. I can only use it though when I play on Sundays because we tee off at 6:30 in the morning. So when we make the turn, it's 9 o'clock. But when I play with Chris or even Sam on Saturdays, we don't tee off till like 8, 9 o'clock. So you're making the turn at like noon, eating an oatmeal thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like eating sand. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference between 9 o'clock making the turn and noon making the turn. You know what I'm saying? And I tried to eat it at BCC. I don't know. It's dry. And their water thing was broken that day. Should we rat them out? Although they had water available. That's the problem with Scarlet and Gray. They have no water out there. Talked about this yesterday, the Rio Bravo Country Club formerly. And the fish are dying in the lake, and now the residents are causing a stink. See what I did right there? The fish are dying, and the residents are causing a stink. I thought that was funny. Tell them the Nolan Ryan story.
So we looked into the whole Nolan Ryan situation. He did get second place once.
If you're just joining us, Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young. Crazy.
Still wild to think
Crazy.
about. Nolan got second place one time, I believe, or at least the one that is being highlighted here.
Listen to these stats.
1973. He set the MLB record for strikeouts in a year.
And I'm pretty sure that was like his first year with the Angels, wasn't it?
Not sure if it was his first year with his Angels. I need to actually look at the line.
You know, he was on the 69 Mets team.
Yes.
The World Series championship team. And I think he was with them either 70, 71. So, yeah, it might have been his second or third year with the Angels.
He had an overall record of 21-16 with an ERA of 2.87. Now, the winner that year was Jim Palmer.
Great pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles.
Fantastic pitcher.
Hall of Famer.
22-9 with a 2.4 ERA and 150 strikeouts with change.
See, but that's not fair. Now, if you looked at on face value, you know, you say, well, frick, Ralph, Nolan had 16 losses. It was with a crappy team. And Jim Palmer only had 9 losses. That might have been the Orioles championship year.
Absolutely.
Please stand by. Hey, Siri, when do the Baltimore Orioles win their championships?
Here's an answer from Action Network.
66 and 70 and 83. So what do you say, 72?
73.
So they were 2 years away from a championship team. In other words, they were pretty damn good. And the Angels were a 10-year-old franchise. What do they call that when you bring them in a
expansion team?
Expansion team. They were 10 years old. They were born right around when I was born, like the early 60s. So they were horrible. So 21-16, he should be given credit for having that many decisions. Because that means if he had 16 losses, he was hanging around a lot.
Yeah.
He was getting deep into the game, 7th and 8th innings. Just happened that the Angels sucked. He was probably losing 3-2. If he had a 2.8 ERA, he was losing 4-3, 3-2, you know, 3-0, stuff like that. And how many strikeouts did he have?
Which one? Palmer?
No.
Ryan, 383.
Which is still a record today. And he didn't win a Cy Young. That's crazy. And you never hear Nolan complain. Final half hour of the broadcast. I'd stick around if I you.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The U.S. military announced Thursday that they are conducting their 13th night of strikes against Iran as clashes escalate over shipping routes. U.S. Central Command once again said the strikes are designed to further degrade Iran's ability to threaten civilian mariners and commercial vessels transiting regional waters as the U.S. pushes to regain control over the Strait of Hormuz and restore the flow of international shipping. President Trump is going ahead with new double-digit tariffs on dozens of U.S. trading partners just as the clock runs out Friday on stopgap levies he imposed after a stinging defeat at the Supreme Court. The U.S. will impose taxes of 10% to 12.5% on imports from 60 countries. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 506 points. This is SRN News.
Ready for a bathroom upgrade that won't disrupt your life?
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. A possible solution for the golden mussel invasion in Kern County and all of California may be being worked out in Arvin, reports ABC 23, with a company called CPRO Scientific working with the Arvin Edison Water Storage District on a possible copper-based solution that may slow down the mussels as they clog pipes and pumps. Some people on South Granite Road in the mountains north of Bakersfield were and are dealing with smoke from a fire that started Wednesday afternoon and had some evacuation warnings in place. That fire is being called the South Fire, according to Kern Fire, and they say it had burned about 70 acres and some structures were in danger. No one has been reported hurt in that fire. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Don't let biased algorithms or degree screens or exclusive professional networks or stereotypes, don't let anything keep you from discovering the half of the workforce who are stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time to tear the paper ceiling and see the stars beyond it. Find out how you can make stars part of your talent strategy at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, it looks like more bad news out of the Strait of Hormuz there. It looks like the Houthis are in play now, and that's going to put oil back over $100 a barrel. That's going to be great for everybody. God help you. We got news, we got traffic, we got weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. Right here, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 12.
Who was divorcing a sheriff deputy?
Yeah.
I would not.
Don't think so?
No, I would not. No, I would not.
I see why you wouldn't, but if it's worth it to you, then yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not saying that
Let me just shut up. I don't even know why I brought it up. I don't even know why I brought it up. But you would date a cop's ex-wife?
Yeah, I mean, again, if the divorce is going through, everything's on the up and up, I don't see why not. I get, again, why you wouldn't, because, again, there is a fear there that something would happen, but, again, if it's worth it to you.
I mean, it could be as simple. Well, I'm lying because that's exactly what I did. Lori's husband was a CHP officer, but he was out there on at the Grapevine weighing trucks. That's why she hated him, because the year that she divorced him, he or separated from him, he was a sergeant weighing tires. Is that what they do out there on the Grapevine? Weigh tires? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the weigh stations.
Is that what they do? Weigh tires?
I don't know if they're weighing tires or just the whole load in general.
Is that what it is? And you can only have
certain amount. Yeah.
How do they weigh those trucks?
The things they're driving into are giant
scales.
Scales. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what he did. And the year that he was getting divorced and about to retire, he applied for a captainship and became a captain for like 6 months so that he could retire on a captain's salary. And she totally resented that. She thought that was so slimy. And they were fighting over, they had property together, and they were fighting over it because it was her property from her family, but he wanted half of it. And she said, that's fine. That's fine. Then I want half your pension. And he was like, take the apartments. They're yours. They belong to your family. Just don't mess with my pension. Where this guy's going to probably get like 150, 180 grand for the rest of his life. And he was a sergeant. He was a sergeant captain for like less than a year. Or maybe it was over a year. I don't know, but not for a very long time. And he did it specifically to pad his salary. Just not right. Not right. 842-5376, 842-KRN. So as I talked about today, the Dodgers were on their way to New York, but they took a little side trip to Washington, D.C. to visit Donald Trump. You know, you forget how big a man Shohei Ohtani is until you see him like in street clothes and standing next to his, like he's standing next to Kershaw, who's not a small man.
Not at all.
What's Kershaw, like 6'2"? And Shohei's hovering over him. What is Shohei? What, 6'4", 6'5"? What do they list him at?
Kershaw, they have him at 6'4".
They have Kershaw at 6'4"? No, he's not 6'4". No, because because there's no way. Shohei's
they have them
not
both at 6'4". There's no way.
Shohei's bigger than Kershaw. Sorry. That's, they had me listed at 165 pounds, and I weighed $150 dripping wet when I went to high school. I'd always laugh at that. I'd look at the roster, and I'd be like, I wish I was 165 pounds. I was 150 soaking wet my sophomore year, and they put 165 pounds. 842-5376, 842-KRN. Let me see anybody talking in the chat room real quick. Let me see. Did you see Crump trying to read the autopsy yesterday? Wow, just shameful. I did see that, and I was gonna play it, but you know who brought that to the attention, Chris? They're saying Ben Crump tried to read this thing, and he just sounded like he had never graduated from high school. But guess what? Black hater was pumping it up.
Oh, don't tell me it was Big Boy.
Tell him. Go ahead.
Whitlock.
Tell him. Yes, of course it was.
Oh, God.
And so I just said, I'm not playing.
He leveled into Ryan Clark and everything, too.
Of course he did.
And
That's his gig. That's his shtick. If you're black, Jason Whitlock, who is black, is going to attack you. It doesn't matter what it's about. He's a sports guy getting involved with this situation that has nothing to do with sports. He's just, if you are a black, that's a shtick. And apparently people are eating it up because I don't know, what kind of numbers does this podcast do?
I can't imagine that great.
I'm watching the Kelsey podcast tonight since there's no Dodger game.
There you go. That's a good way to go.
Where they talk about the wedding.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. This is the episode where they talk about the wedding. And I just, there's parts of me that don't want to listen to it because I just thought the wedding was a fiasco. Have you heard some of the facts?
Oh,
They were raffling off gifts.
like the people brought their own gifts for them, and they turned around and said, "We're raffling these off."
Taylor and Travis bought gifts and raffled them off to their friends. Now, I mean, I guess that's kind of a nice thing to do, but it's just kind of a weird thing to do at a wedding.
That is odd.
And there was, and the Madison Square Garden bit, I just don't understand. I really don't. I mean, I get the privacy, but there's ways to do it. John Kennedy did it. John Kennedy got married on an island off of Georgia and put his family through hell because they had to like drive and it was at this little church and they didn't have electricity. It's a really romantic story, actually. I just got through watching American Prince. I don't know why. I don't know what the connection is this month, but I just got finished watching JFK, American President, which I've seen like 3 or 4 times. And I just got through watching American Prince, which is the CNN documentary on John Kennedy, who, it's the second time I've seen the 2-part documentary on his life. And, I talked about this when I was young. I went to college with Dexter King. And I'll never forget when I first got to campus, I knew they had kids, but I didn't know they were my age. Bernice, who I had a music class with at Spelman College, is the youngest daughter. And Dexter, who was the guy that helped me out. I've told you the story when I got arrested in Atlanta for mouthing off to a cop. I was running late for a date. And I had blown this girl off before. So this was a crucial date. And I was 20 minutes late. And I didn't even think she'd still be there. And I double parked. It was downtown Atlanta on a Friday night, which is chaos. So I double parked, left my car running. No, I didn't. But I was double parked. And I ran in and she was still standing at the hostess stand. And I said, Deidre, I'm so sorry. Please, can you seat this young lady for 2? And I am double parked. I'm going to go park my car. I'll be right back. I am so sorry. I'm going to make this up to you. And Deidre was really nice. She was a preacher's kid, which is a whole nother story. But she was a really polite, really nice girl. But she just wasn't the kind of girl you could date, because she was a preacher's kid and they tend to be a little wild. And so I run back to my car. I turn the corner and I'm at a stoplight. And there's a blonde white woman, motorcycle cop, sitting next to me. And I rolled down the window and I asked her, where can I park? I'm looking for some downtown parking. And she said, go through this light and the next light, make a left. And there's some underground parking right there. I said, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm running so late. And we both went through the first intersection. And if you've ever seen a Burt Reynolds movie called Sharky's Machine, there's a scene where they're attempting to shoot the mayor, and there's a large intersection, shot in Atlanta. There's a large intersection. Well, we were going through that very intersection, and I went through it yellow. She stopped and claimed that I ran the light. And I went berserk. A, because now this is going to take another 20 minutes, and Deidre's going to leave. And B, I didn't run the light. And I just went on and on and on, and I'm just in this woman's face. And she's writing the ticket. And I finally said, 19-year-old Ralph Bailey turned to this woman, maybe 20. And I said, you know what the issue is? You have a chip on your shoulder because you're a woman cop. I'm going to need a paddy wagon, 4747 Peachtree Street. I've got disorderly conduct, Ralph Emerson Bailey Jr., birth date 8362. I said, what are you talking about? Turn around, Mr. Bailey. Like, what are you talking about? You're going to jail, sir. I said, disorderly conduct. She said, look at yourself. Turn around, Mr. Bailey. And I spent the night in the Ooh Scout till midnight until one of my father's classmates had to bail me out. And back then, I don't know if this is still, he had to put up the mortgage on his house to bail me out. That's a true story. And why am I telling it? Because at the time, Dexter King was like a deputy or something. And he sees me, it's a Friday night. And I think it was Atlanta was trying to get the get the 88 Olympics. And so they were cleaning up the city. So I'm basically the only sober person in essentially a drunk tank. Like they picked up, and that was the first thing. I had to run around town in this van picking up drunks. And I'm dressed for a date. You know what I mean? I'm dressed like the preppy Ralph Bailey of the 1980s with the loafers and khakis and the whole bit. And these drunks are just looking at me like, what the hell are you doing in here? And so I'm being held in this drunk tank, and Dexter King looks in. And he goes, don't you go to the house? I go, yeah, I do, Dexter. I know you. My name's Ralph Bailey. And every time they would feed the guys, he would pull me out, let me walk around and stuff. And he just kind of looked after me. And I felt bad because I resented him because he was Dexter King. You are the son of the single most famous African American in the 20th century, and he was a DJ and a deputy at the jail. And I was just like, dude. And he was a tall, of all the kids, like Martin Jr. or the third was heavy set, was balding. Dexter was a pretty boy. He was well known at Morehouse College and Spelman College. And I was like, dude, you've got looks, you've got the name. Why would you not try to follow in your dad's footsteps? And the more I watched the John Kennedy life and times of John Jr., it's the same thing. It's like, dude, you knew inevitably you would get into it. What was with the magazine? You know what I'm saying? I think these rich, entitled kids, some that want to balk at getting into the family business, just have this compulsion to do something on their own. You know what I mean? I think he felt at that age that politics would be too easy. Of course he'd win. He's John Kennedy. Who's not going to vote for John Kennedy Jr. other than the fact that he's John Kennedy's son, A, B, that he has the Kennedy money and the entire Kennedy family, including a very popular senator as his uncle, a man named Ted Kennedy, and 3, he was the prettiest man on the planet, according to People magazine in 1988. And I was there with him at the Atlanta convention, Democratic National Convention, where he gave a speech that night and floored the people. And I remember I eavesdropped on an interview that he did with Katie Couric. I was standing in the background, and Katie Couric was working for NBC at the time. She wasn't working on the Today Show. She was just a correspondent. And I eavesdropped on their conversation where she obviously asked him, aren't you inevitably going to get into this? Wouldn't your father want you to serve? And he said, well, you're right. But my father also believed that there are other ways that you can serve your country. And I guess that's what led to George, his failed magazine that was just a god-awful magazine. I got a subscription to it, excuse me. Got a subscription to it. It was awful. The first edition was Cindy Crawford dressed up like George Washington on the cover, and it was an interview with Cindy Crawford, which was, I can get this in People magazine. And just because you're asking her political questions, why would I listen to damn Cindy Crawford about her thoughts on affirmative action or some legislation? It was an awful magazine. And he refused to put himself in it, which would have made it successful had he told stories about his dad or interviewed members of his dad's cabinet or did stuff like that. He refused, absolutely refused. And at the time of his death, the magazine was about to die. It was going to be inevitable. Let us take our final break of the night. Tomorrow is a Friday. We've got an educator joining us tomorrow about a new school program trying to get up on its feet. And of course, Mr. Burdick's guest, Rick Bentley, will join us in his usual spot. Whatever else happens between now and 3:05. But in the meantime, keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. You're listening in the meantime to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1, AM 1230. We stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey Siri, call Coconut Joe's.
Calling Joe's Coconut.
Hi, this is Ralph. I'd like to make an order to go. I'm going to do the two-piece chicken dark with beans and rice, no bread, and 2 salsas. That is it. Thank you. All right, what'd we do today? What'd we do today? What'd we do today? I know, I'll do something light. You ready? 3, 2. It is a crime. Did you guys know? I just learned this. Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young and never really came close except for in 73 when he had 380 strikeouts, but he went 21-16. He was on an awful Angels team. And Jim Palmer on a good Orioles team went 21-9. That is a travesty. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Friday TRBS. Well, it's a Friday. KGT entertainment reporter Rick Bentley. And we've got a local educator trying to get a local school up on its feet. I'll explain all that, plus me at 3. It's TRBS right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. I'll see you at 3.
Or 6801 White Lane. Or if you want, you can go to saltysbbq.com and order online. Salty's Barbecue and Catering. California Grill, Texas approved. Oh, it's good.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
2 weeks, 2 days. I love the baby's been gone. If you see my baby, please send her home to me.
Why Optima Tax got to use a brother as their example for the guy that doesn't pay his taxes? Tell me that wasn't a brother. And then they add at the end, and the testimony is from an actual customer. Why do you got to pick a brother? Black folks pay their taxes. I pay my taxes every year. From Marquez and Marquez, John Marquez, one of the finest accountants in this land. You may know his dad, Fernando, who's a BC professor, accountant, or his uncle, Raul Marquez. I used to play golf with them. Those are the first guys that I played golf with. That's where I met Jimmy Cisneros and Paul Guerra. That was our fivesome. It'd be Fernando and Raul, and sometimes just me and Paul, or sometimes the five of us, Jimmy and Paul, out at Kern River Golf Course. I used to play that course 2 or 3 times a week. It was great. Used to walk. That's how young I was. I used to walk. I can't imagine walking a golf course now. I really can't. I tried it once at BCC with a pull cart, and I lasted nine holes, and it was like, I can't. Give me a cart. I can't.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, especially at BCC. Zucchini can do it, but Zucchini's a hiker, and he works out all the time.
Yeah, I was like, didn't he do that whole like trek along the riverbed or something?
Where he
like
almost
that?
died.
Yeah.
Where he and Tom Ming damn near drowned or died, and yeah, he's a nut. You know, he works out with still. Paul Gola.
Really?
Yeah, he's still, he was, my friend Chris Zucchini used to be the wide receivers coach at Garces.
under Gola, among other coaches. He went through like 3 or 4 coaches, actually. And he's still friends with him. He still works out with him. Mr. Gola has moved on to, don't tell me, Independence? Is that where he is, or Frontier? It's one of the two. I think it's Independence.
I want to say you're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Independence. In fact, I know it's Independence. He and the boy. You know what I saw last night? It's funny you were playing Louis Prima. I saw The Big Night. You guys ever seen this movie? It's really worth watching. It's with Stanley Tucci, who's one of my favorite actors, and Tony. Who's the guy on Taxi? Not on Taxi. He had his own show. He was on. He was on Wings. He was on Wings. Tony Shalhoub. Is that his name? Tony Shalhoub, the dark-haired guy, had his own show for a while where he's kind of a anal detective. Tony Shalhoub, right?
Tony Shalhoub, yeah.
Yeah, okay. They play Italian brothers that are trying to start up a restaurant, but it's set in the 50s. Allison Janney is in it from The West Wing, and they're true Italians. In other words, they do like risotto and they do a lot of different things. And lasagna hadn't even been in America yet in the 50s. And they cook their own pasta. Meantime, another cat is doing spaghetti and meatballs and selling steaks down the street and doing extremely well. And they're struggling. And he goes to the guy, and the guy says, I know I can infuse some business for you. I know Louis Prima. And I'll have Louis Prima come to your event tonight. And that'll bring you company. And the reality is the guy was trying to cheat him. It's Ian Holm, who you know Ian Holm, even if you don't know his name. Because did you see Alien, Chris?
Yes.
The first one?
Yes.
Ian Holm is the guy that comes out of the guy's stomach. You know what I'm saying? Where he's the robot. Remember, he's the robot and he's trying to save the creature.
So the guy who has the chest thing come out of his?
No, that's another actor. He's the robot that's trying to save. And then they finally get wise to him.
Yes.
And they try to kill. They do kill him. They burn him. And they find out that he's a robot. That's Ian Holm.
Gotcha.
And he plays the guy that's running the popular but generic Italian restaurant down the street, who promises to get Louis Prima to this guy. And then the crash. And Minnie Driver is in it. A young, beautiful Minnie Driver. She played. You know who Minnie Driver is, don't you?
The name sounds really familiar.
She's Matt Damon's girlfriend in How About Them Apples? What's that movie with Ben Affleck?
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. She plays his girlfriend. You remember the Harvard girl?
Okay, yeah.
That's Minnie Driver.
Okay.
Hotter than Irish mustard. And she was probably about that age when she did The Big Night. She plays Stanley Tucci's girlfriend, but Stanley Tucci is cheating on Minnie Driver with Isabella Rossellini. Talk about good-looking women. And then at the end, the crux of the whole movie is the guy down the street doesn't even know Louis Prima. He's trying to destroy these two brothers. And it's kind of a weird ending where they both realize that they've been cheated and that they're probably going to go out of business. And there's just a silent scene at the end where they're just cooking eggs. And that's how they, you know who else is in it? Mark Anthony. J-Lo's ex-husband. He plays one of the waiters. He has a tiny little role, but this movie was like 20 years ago. It's a great film called The Big Night. Sorry that I rambled. It's Chris's fault. He played Louis Prima, and that got me going. I got to get out of here. I want to thank our guests today. And in the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Wrap to you tomorrow.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Keith Peters in Washington. The U.S. military has announced it is conducting a 13th night of strikes against Iran as clashes escalate over shipping routes. The move comes as the U.S. House voted to rebuke the Trump administration on its Iran policy. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chair Brian Mast says Democrats who are criticizing the Iran war are disrespecting the 18 troops who have died fighting there.
To belittle this mission is to belittle and demean the very service these members gave their life for. Their sacrifice was not meaningless. This operation is bringing a reckoning for the hundreds of times Iran has attacked and killed people of the United States of America.
The Senate GOP rejected a similar effort just hours later, as Democrats couldn't muster the needed support to advance another anti-war measure. The Trump administration is unveiling double-digit tariffs on dozens of countries as stopgap 10% levies end today.
President Trump is citing human rights abuses to impose new tariffs of 10 to 12.5% on products from 60 countries, citing their failure to enforce an import ban